Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Yes. We have made it to Wednesday. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking up to 2 p.m. And they did it again. And when I say they did it again, I really mean that the Kings lost again. They lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder in a game where, look, man, there are a lot of kudos being given out where it's, hey, well, they hung tough. I'm not doing that. This is not a young, spry, up-and-coming team where you can celebrate. They lost to the young, spry, up-and-coming team. So I'm actually going to be more respectful to a future Hall of Famer and DeMar DeRozan and veterans in this league. And I'm not going to sit here and give them a cookie for playing 8 minutes of good basketball. Maybe a quarter of good basketball. I'm not going to do that. Other people can do that. You can call in and do that. 916-339-1140. Of course you can do that. I'm not going to do it because I think that they deserve better than that. And I think that they're not giving themselves a cookie. At least they shouldn't be. I know Coach Doug Christie brought up, some of the good things that they did, and that's his job as a coach. You have to try to keep the vibes as high as possible, even if it seems impossible. But I don't have to do that. That's not what I get paid to do. I get paid to talk my mind, and I get paid to give my opinion on things and to have great conversations with some of our great callers and texters. Like I said, 916-339-1140. Phone lines open all day. When we hit the 12 o'clock hour, though, we will have Chris Biederman of the Sacramento Bee, and we will have a great conversation with him. Lit and Fuel, we're still giving away those tickets. That's at 1 p.m. So if you missed your chance, there were a lot of calls yesterday. So again, if you are on the Sacktown Sports app, I'd probably bop on over to YouTube, and you can kick it with the Sack Chat if you haven't seen them or kicked it with them before. Or I would move on over to the radio if you want a chance to win those tickets, because they went like hotcakes yesterday. 28th, they will be at Hard Rock Live if you want to check them out. And I don't know who wants to check out the Kings right now. And I'll tell you this much. You know how I get down. I know everyone lives, breathes, and eats Kings out here in Sacramento, the Beam team, the Beam regime, okay, all of that and all of the purpleness that's everywhere. I get all that, but in a situation like this where people are checking out, people are tuning out, people are sad, people are just not really feeling it, there's too much going on in the world of sports to talk about a team that is at this point irrelevant. The Kings are irrelevant, whether they get into the play-in or not. And I know if they get into the play-in, I'll fall for it. I will fall for it. If they get into the play-in, I'll say, hey, all they got to do, 2 games. But I don't even know if that's what's going to happen because they are unable to win a game. I have no clue if they're going to win tomorrow night. I really don't. I truly don't. Are the Bulls better than the Blazers? We've seen them both get hot here towards the end of the game. So I don't know if tomorrow night is a given because it's the quote-unquote Blazers. These are not your grandfather's Blazers. They're probably good for your grandfather. These are not your older brother's Blazers. Or these are not your Blazers from last season. You cannot just sit there and assume that the Kings are going to win. And these are not your older brother's Kings, by the way, depending on how old your older brother is, or your Kings of a couple years ago. This team is bad. This is a good team, good players, but it is a bad team, okay? And we'll get to Chrissy's cuts. Like I said, a lot of hope trying to be pushed forward, and they did some good things, but that's where we're at. We got to celebrate good quarters and good 5 minutes of play. That's where we're at. So it's tough because the season isn't over, but the season is over. And I don't want to spend too much time talking about the offseason, but I do think today is a day where we can kind of look into who is untouchable to you, right? Who would you be okay with parting from? How did the Kings get out of this mess? Because to me, last night, it wasn't just an embarrassment because of this season. It was because it removed whatever facade there was of just get in and you have a chance. No, Sacramento. No, Kings. No, ownership. No, front office. You don't have a chance. This isn't March Madness. It was March Madness because the Kings played some tough teams, but this isn't March Madness under the guise of all you got to do is win one and you get in, right? Or all you got to do is win one and advance. You're terrible, and we have the numbers. You are absolutely terrible against good teams. The Kings are bad team merchants, which isn't a bad thing because you have to beat bad teams, or you're supposed to, but they cannot beat a team that actually has a chance of winning. So this facade, and not even winning the championship, just playoff level teams. So this facade of, hey, if we get in, I think last night in front of the whole basketball world on TNT, when you got embarrassed, it showed, and I'm not talking about the team getting embarrassed. They're the ones that played and got embarrassed. But I'm talking about anyone who represents the Kings, they got embarrassed last night, and the facade of, hey, we can get in and be scary. No, you can't. Because like I said, this isn't March Madness. You have to beat a team 4 times. There is no way in hell this Sacramento Kings team is beating any current playoff team 4 times. Pick one. They're not beating any of them. They're not beating any of them. And I honestly don't even know if they could beat any of those teams twice. Maybe the Rockets, because that's the only team they've been able to beat.
Timberwolves?
And now the Rockets, well, I'm saying top 6. Top 6. And I don't think they can beat the Timberwolves 4 times, just for the record. They wouldn't beat the Timberwolves 4 times. They damn sure wouldn't beat the Clippers 4 times or the Warriors. You know what, Kyle? They wouldn't beat anybody 1 through 8 4 times. And I don't think they would beat not this team, because the Timberwolves that the Kings beat, that was a different Kings team. This Kings team is not beating the Timberwolves, not even twice. So the facade of, hey, if we sneak in, that's what they're trying to sell you, Sacramento. Hey, come on in, Golden One, we're rocking, we're loud, and you know what? We're going to sneak in the playoffs, and who knows what's going to happen, OKC. Remember that? Hey, you never know, OKC. Stop it. You got undressed last night in front of the whole basketball world. So the facade is gone now. You can't sell this. A lot of people were saying the lower bowl right there on TNT, the lower bowl. Bunch of open seats. You cannot sell this. There is nobody in that organization that can step up on the podium and say, yeah, we really like what we're building. What are you building? What are you building? Jared Weiss a couple nights ago, before they got undressed by the Celtics, Jared Weiss came on these airwaves. NBA writer for The Athletic says there's two types of teams. You're either trying to get playoff revenue, or you're just going to keep rebuilding until you find what you're looking for. Like Bachelor, I'm just going to keep looking until I find what I'm looking for. The Kings think that they're in the camp of getting playoff revenue, but they're not getting playoff revenue because they're not, say it with me, going to the playoffs. Now, look, maybe they turn it around. Weirder things have happened, but the idea that this team right now is going to rattle off enough wins to A, stay in the play-in, and then beat some combination of the Mavs the Mavs or the Suns, then beat some combination of the Clippers, the Timberwolves, and the Warriors. I don't know how that happens. There has to be some type of epiphany that happens at practice or maybe tomorrow night against the Blazers where it all just clicks. And it has not clicked yet. It has not. They played their best basketball missing guys. They haven't even played. And I knew this was going to come in. I get a text right here from the 530. Allen, they spelled my name right. Allen, I like you, but sometimes you're way too negative, man. Ha ha. 530, please call in and tell me what I should say. We're in the first segment. They've lost 4 straight. They're on their way out of the play-in. Please call in 530 if you're available and tell me, because I'll wear it normally when I am too negative. I'm just trying to figure out, and if you listen to the show, I'm not saying everybody can listen for 4 hours, but I go through my hopium where I give everybody hope. I go through my pessimistic situation as well. But and towards the end of the show, we will get into how the Kings get out of this mess. But I'm really trying to figure out, if you aren't negative about this team right now, you just don't care that much, which is okay. You've protected yourself. I'm in this. This is my job. I can't protect myself. I can't. I wish I could, but I can't. I got to I just finished Severance. I wish I could severance myself during Kings games. That's how bad they are right now. I wish I could just sever myself and not remember what happened, then re-sever myself to do the show.
Got to be careful when you say that.
That's what I wish I could do. 916-339-1140. On the other side, we talk about the plan that the Kings have had. We get into some of the NBA news throughout the league, and we break down what the heck happened in Golden One last night. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Yes, and callers, join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-611-5252, 800-611-5252, 800-611-5252.
DeRozan picks up the dribble, left elbow, out to Keon Ellis. Feeds a pass, poked away from behind by Isaiah Joe, grabbed by Hartenstein. Back to Joe, left wing 3 transition, score it. Timeout, Sacramento. This one's getting away from the Kings big time. It's now 42-25.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/SactownSports1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
And I always appreciate this. So 530 says, I'm at work or I would call in. And this right here is what I don't have I can't argue this. Anybody that has this take, I can never argue. I just don't know how many people still have this take. So 530 says, I'm at work or I would call in. I enjoy the show. Ha ha. I understand you got a lot of time to talk. I watched like 95% of the games over that 16-year drought. And we have never had this much talent, so I'm having a good time. So I responded, and I'll respond if you text in. A lot of people know that. I said, hey, I appreciate that for sure. A lot of people are tired of no direction, but I get it. Thanks for listening. Signed, Allen. So I appreciate the 530. Hope your day at work goes quickly, and I hope that you enjoy your Wednesday. And I think that's a great point from the 530. And we've talked about that before. A lot of people are still enjoying the fact that the Kings, and like we said, how many of those years during the 16-year drought would the Kings have flirted with the play-in? Because right now they're flirting. They're not in solidly. They're flirting, right? So just the idea of flirting with being competitive. How many of those years without the play-in would they have flirted with being competitive?
So of the 16 playoff drought seasons, they would have been in a theoretical play-in tournament twice.
That's still pretty bad. Now that helps the 530's argument to say, hey, I'm still reacting in year 3 to the 16-year drought, and I'm still happy that I'm watching competitive basketball. 530, that you are entitled to that opinion. And like I said, if that's your take, then I can't argue that at all. That's a hell of an opinion to have. I just don't know how many Kings fans at this point still have that opinion, because it goes pretty quick, right? The Beam Team season happened, and then the argument or the conversation was, oh, we're good now. We're good now. And then you lose in the play-in, and oh, what is that? Is that from, and I don't know if Kyle would know. Where is Chris Verlade when you need him? What movie is that? We Suck Again. What movie is that? Because that's how it feels. And I know someone's going to help me immediately. Was that Rob Schneider? I can't remember. Someone's going to help me. As we saw what happened last season, and it was, I thought we were going to be good. I was listening to the Drive guys yesterday, and Whitey was talking about how the last time the Kings had this run, 7 years in the playoffs, and the whole idea was, hey, we're good again, or we're good, so we're going to be in the playoffs for a couple years now. Right? That's kind of normally what happens, even outside of the Kings. You're messing around with the playoffs once you find your guy, once you find your vibe of what your team is, your franchise guy, you find your coach. We're going to be in this for a while. And then they weren't. And all the texts are coming in. It was Waterboy. Thank you. We suck again. Thank you.
I knew it was something with Adam Sandler. Definitely never watched it. But
well, I know you didn't. You weren't alive yet. But the Waterboy, thank you. 916-209. And yeah, they're all coming in now. Thank you very much. So that kind of surprised people. But those out there that still feel happy that the Kings are competitive, then this conversation isn't for you, right? And if you are still in that camp, then you are enjoying this, right? But I think it's tough even so to just get so close and not get over the hump, right? I think it changes. I think I would understand that take more if you still had De'Aaron and you still had Mike Brown. But the fact that you abandoned that would have swayed me because, hey, we're kind of beating our head against the wall, and we can't get over the hump. But it's De'Aaron's our guy, Mike's our guy. Maybe it's time. They didn't even give that enough time to see if it wasn't enough, right? Not even 3 years. Didn't even give him 3 years. So that's how I see it. But to the 530, I really do appreciate that take, and I'm sure you're not the only one with that take. 916-339-1140. Let's get through these phone calls. Let's get to Freddie. Wants to talk about expectations. What's up, Freddie? What you got for us?
Hey, first-time caller. Just want to say I'm really glad about that first take you gave to start the show. I think that's definitely something that we need to be having more conversations about, as far as, not giving these guys always a pat on the back for sometimes stat lines, or, I remember a couple of games ago, DeMar DeRozan getting to 25,000. That's a very impressive number to get to, not taking anything away from him. But, when you do most of that on other teams beyond Sacramento, and now at 35, soon to be 36, you're not really, that's not translating to wins for us. And as Kings fans, like myself, who are in their late 20s, early 30s, it's kind of hard to tell us, to be patient, because we've been hearing this since we were kids. And now, when you see teams like the Jazz, they're not good right now, obviously, but they've even had a resurgence in the last few years, way more than the Kings have. That's definitely something that, for us fans of our age, we kind of get frustrated at. Like, when is it our time to finally to step up? And I'm just glad that you're able to lay it all out there on the in your first take of the morning segment.
Thanks for the call, Freddie. Great stuff, and appreciate you. First time caller. Thanks for listening. I think the Jazz, that's a good shout, because I always brought up Damian Lillard, and we'll get into Damian Lillard and a very unfortunate deep vein thrombosis, and we wish Damian the best. Everyone knows that we don't go back, but for my time, living in Oakland and Dame being from Oakland, just really happy with what his career has been, but very sad for what has happened to him, but I always bring up the Blazers, but I think the Jazz are a good shout too. So the Jazz, they legitimately hit a ceiling with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. They hit the ceiling. So what did they do? They decided to clear the deck, right? The Lauri Markkanen thing doesn't make any sense, but not every move is going to make sense. They still have a treasure chest of first-round picks that they can go to, and they still could, I believe, based on when Lauri Markkanen was signed, they could still get off of Lauri if they wanted to. They'll get whatever for John Collins, but they know that they're tanking. Why they didn't move guys this season, I don't know, but they know they still can, right? So if you're a Jazz fan, hey, we gave it all we had. And Jazz, weren't they a 1 seed with Donovan 1 year, a 1 or a 2 seed?
They were a 1 seed, I think, 15 months before trading Rudy Gobert.
Didn't work out. They said, okay, we're going to pivot, and now they have a ton of picks, right? The Kings, they didn't even they had one run, right? And and the next season they tried to run it back, which I would say not really on Mike Brown. The Keon Ellis thing, okay, you found a diamond in the rough, and we can blame Mike Brown for that. But I mean, the fact that you're looking, and Keon is a diamond in the rough, don't get me twisted. But the fact that you're looking to your G League 2 leaguers to save your season, that's not really a Mike thing to me, right? That's it. So let's keep the conversation going with JR. We got JR, Dwayne, and Mitch that want to be a part of the conversation. What's up, JR? What you got for us?
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. What's up?
And I think it's Waterboy. Did someone already say it?
Oh, yeah. Someone hooked me up. Thank you.
Yeah. We need Bobby Boucher on this team right about now. Last caller is funny because I think he says around 30. So the expectation, I get it. As an older guy, 80, 90 here, Kings fans, we took everything we could. And the 90s, we had The Rock. We had, the great team in the 2000s. Here's the thing. We'll be happy to go to some kind of playing thing because we're just relevant.
Yeah.
I know that's desperate. And you're right. You can't mill around in the eighth night for the rest of your life. But there's okay, at least a playoff game. At least give me, hope that maybe they could have a game and they play well. Now, winning out of the eighth night or ninth, 10th is almost impossible. I just think it is. Mm-hmm. But if you do, what the heck? And, of course, you just hit – there's no way they're even getting close to winning maybe one game, against Oklahoma City.
Yeah, thanks for the call, JR. And I think it's not so much just the middling. I think it's how they middled, right? To give up on, like I said, if De'Aaron and Mike Brown, they couldn't get it done again, that would be only 3 years now. They made a move at the trade deadline, couldn't get it done. It's, okay, well, last season the excuse was no Malik, no Kevin Huerter, and even before that they were, messing around with the 6 seed. What's it this season? Oh, man, we're in year 3. That is a completely different take than, 5-game lose. And I'm not saying Mike Brown was the right choice, and I've been very critical of De'Aaron Fox in these airwaves, but the more I think about it, I want to – we have to get to a break. Dwayne, you lead us off. Then, Mitch, you're hitting 2 because I do want to do a very safe version of role play here where these guys sit down and decide, okay, we know what could happen if we move on from De'Aaron and what they thought in their mind was going to happen after they fired Mike Brown. I'm just curious in their heart of hearts, in the best scenario possible, what in the world they thought was going to happen when they made these decisions. Even if I don't think that they were the right or wrong decision, it doesn't really matter. Dwayne, Mitch, and then we have some role play on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Thursday night, Kings and Trailblazers. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Spring is in the air, and there's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. Whether you're shopping for new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. And while life's roads are often filled with bumps, buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPfest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Paul Mitchell, The School, Sacramento, and Stoney's Rockin' Rodeo. Find out more at CITPfest.com.
At Elk Grove Honda, not only do we have a great selection of pre-owned cars at very fair prices, but every one of our pre-owned automobiles are treated with kid gloves with a 182-point inspection that covers everything from unibody to tires to brakes and engine filters. Then our cars receive a mobile oil change and fresh fill-up with full synthetic mobile oil. We know you have lots of choices of where to purchase your next car. Come to Elk Grove Honda, home of the 182-point inspection and mobile oil change. We're in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
Taking you up to 2 p.m., halfway through the first hour, and it's been electric so far. I'll be honest with you. Kyle and I were talking a little bit about the phone lines being a bit on fire and why that is the case. Why is it that after this game, the fans and the listeners seem to be ready to go? And you know, y'all had your coffee. I appreciate that. Personally, I think it's because you look at the Thunder and you see one, how a rebuild is supposed to work, right? And you kind of saw the Beam team vibes from the Thunder. I think a lot of fans saw maybe what could have been. Now, obviously, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, nobody saw that coming. There's a little bit of luck involved with this thing, man. It's fine to admit that. But I think last night you're watching this and you're thinking, man, I'm sitting here cheering that the Kings are within 9 of a team that is in such a better situation than our team. And not to say it could have been us, but we're not even close. We're not even close. Okay. The Kings made 23 threes last night. NBA teams all time are 157-16 when they make 23 or more threes. So the Kings, again, talk about the 25,000 points for tomorrow. They're making history. It's just not the history that we would like them to be making. Meanwhile, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is setting records for most 20-point games and on his way to probably being the MVP. If not, he's going to finish very close second to Jokic. So I think a lot of people just saw a mirror image. I'm going to go old school here. When you're watching Rugrats, right, that episode where there's the other set of babies that look the same but slightly different, and you see, oh, that's not Tommy, that's Johnny. That's not Phil and Lil. That's, I don't know, Jill and Will. And that's how it felt. You're watching a team that, man, I don't know if that could have been us, but we thought we would be closer to this than where we are right now. 916-339-1140. As promised, let's lead it off with Dwayne, one of our P1s from the Sac Chat, wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Dwayne? What you got for us?
What's up, Alan?
Hey.
Hey, the comparison should be more the Phoenix Suns, because that's how Vivek envisions it.
Mm-hmm.
He went out and got three pieces that don't go together, but they're exciting. They're big names that put people in the seats, and they buy merchandise. And then it leads to conversations like this where people have high expectations. No, you have to look at how he is building the team. He's not building a winning organization. He's building a money-making organization.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Dwayne, and we appreciate you being one of our P1s on the Sac Chat. I think that's a great shout as far as the shortcuts, right? I don't want to have to hit on one draft pick and two, which they did, by the way. The Kings hit on De'Aaron Fox, they hit on Tyrese Halliburton, and they hit on Keegan Murray. So they did hit on some. They didn't hit on all, but they hit on some. But, hey, I don't want to, and we talked about this for all those back in the day, just like myself. I'm not too proud to say it. Yeah, I don't feel like reading that book. I got baseball practice, whatever it is. I'm just going to find the Spark Notes, right? Or I'm going to ask my buddy or someone else, hey, what's this book about? It's the shortcuts. It's the shortcuts. And on top of that, you talk about the big names. Those aren't even the what he's doing. It wasn't even the Phoenix Suns because they don't got no KD, right? I guess Bradley Beal, the same star level as a Zach LaVine. I mean, both rough contracts. Bradley Beal's probably the same star level as LaVine, and they didn't have everybody at the same time. But to Dwayne's point, you have De'Aaron Fox as your Devin Booker. You have DeMar DeRozan as your KD. And I guess the only difference is obviously Zach LaVine wasn't on the team with them, but Domantas Sabonis is your third piece in that big three. So the Sabonis move, I still don't think it was bad per se, but it's crazy to look at it now and say, okay, so all those years ago, you got rid of someone because you didn't think the team could work together. That team wouldn't make sense. And now look what you have, a team that makes absolutely no sense. 916-339-1140. Let's go to Mitch, who wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Mitch? What you got for us?
What's cracking, Alan?
Hey.
Hey, I thought these Kings would be beating these beats, and they seem to rise up, but losing the Celtics kind of got blown out yesterday. I say the best thing is not to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
We made two things. We should have traded Fox if we knew. I guess we know he would demand to be traded instead of Halliburton. And then we would have had Sabonis, Halliburton, and then while we trade for Fox and get another 2 or 3, we should have gotten a big guy for that. That was our mistake too.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, thanks for the call, Mitch, as always. And I'll tell you what, I've heard it pronounced Khalil Ware and Khalil Ware in Miami. But I want. Oh, do you know what it is? Because I've heard both.
I can look it up. I've been calling him Khalil Ware.
Same here, but it felt like on the broadcast they said Khalil Ware. But either way, he was wearing down the Warriors last night. So obviously the Warriors, the Jimmy Butler return, they lost, no Steph Curry. So I'm watching Ware, and I know I'm not supposed to do it. We got to move forward. But I'm thinking, this dude, he wasn't as high on my list as Don't Connect. I'm not going to lie to you, but my source was an alum or is an alum at Indiana. And I kind of put it out there. Hey, there's questions on the motor. What do people think about? How do you pronounce it, Kyle?
Basketball Reference says Khalil
Ware. What do you think about Khalil Ware? And my source that's an Indiana alum said he's going to be a dude. And to watch the broadcast last night, okay, and just hear them talk about how good Ware is going to be, you're just kicking yourself. You're kicking yourself. Now he's playing next to Bam Adebayo. That could have been Sabonis and Ware. So, and I know Dalton Connect was higher, so I'm not going to do the thing, but I'm kind of doing the thing. So it's tough, man. It's tough with some of the decisions that were made. I do want to get into some of this role play here that I tease.
Hey, now.
And essentially, I just want to, I'm sitting at the table, okay, and I'm ownership, I'm the front office, and the decision, or maybe you're on a Zoom call, you're not on Skype because they fumbled the bag and now they're going under. And you're sitting there just, hey, okay, guys, it's we're on a 5-game losing streak, or the conversations had already been had. So it's, hey, if this thing gets worse, I know we just signed Mike Brown, and I also know that De'Aaron Fox told us if we move on from Mike Brown, he probably is going to get up out of here.
Or at the very least, we just met with Rich Paul, and he's like, what are we doing here?
But I'm saying from the summer. So, right. So summer happens. They have that information in their head, right? The losing streak then happens. And they say, the losing streak was in the midst of the Rich Paul stuff. So they meet with Rich Paul, and Rich Paul probably reiterates at that point, I know things are rough. We want to talk about the direction, but we still like De'Aaron, right? Or we still like Mike Brown. Don't get, maybe they said that. It feels like that was what was said because of what De'Aaron then said on his Sacramento media tour.
Yeah,
okay?
we don't know.
We don't know that for a fact, but I feel fairly confident, or we got to go down a real tinfoil rabbit hole. So that gets said in the midst of the losing streak. De'Aaron fouls Jaden Ivey. They lose the game. Mike Brown kind of throws De'Aaron under the bus. And maybe they say, hey, maybe that'll turn De'Aaron on Mike Brown because he's kind of putting him out there in the street saying it's his fault. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to fire Mike Brown. And honestly, the plan kind of worked. They fired Mike Brown. They went on a 7-game winning streak. The issue was De'Aaron didn't care, right? So, hey, we're going to fire Mike Brown. And if we go on this winning streak, we'll be okay, right? De'Aaron will want to stay. If De'Aaron wants to leave, then we can find someone that can give us somewhat similar production. And what's crazy is they did do all of those things, but I think it goes back to the conversation of 2K and missing on the secret sauce, right? You make a dish and all right, does it need salt? What does it need? They missed the binder. They missed the binding piece of this, and they have and I don't even know what that would have been if you decide to move on from De'Aaron Fox. But I guess how I'm trying to pull this around is, what did they think was the best case scenario? You were going to fire Mike Brown, and De'Aaron stays and you just keep winning, or De'Aaron leaves, Zach LaVine keeps playing at the same clip, and Malik Monk is the next Russell Westbrook, Ja Morant, and you just win all these games even though you had a bit of time to figure everything out. I mean, what did they actually think was going to happen when they sat down and made these decisions?
So I think in your role-playing game here that we're doing, I think everything you're talking about, firing the coach and instilling an interim, i.e. Doug Christie, the guy who has support of the ownership group, and then trading De'Aaron Fox for a win-now piece, even though De'Aaron Fox only had 1.5 years left on his contract and you were essentially only negotiating with one team.
Yeah.
I think believing that you could get a win-now player and pick up where you had left off during the 7-game win streak sounded good in principle, and then in practice was not. That's just not how the NBA works, right? Those all-NBA caliber players don't just come available all that often. Now, obviously, the Luka and Anthony Davis trade happened at the same time.
Right.
But that's a one-of-one situation that is an anomaly around the league. Those players don't come available that often, hence the fact that De'Aaron Fox was here for 6.5 years before all of it happened. So I think it sounded good in their head, and they knew that they weren't as good of a team when they made the trade, which is why they got the extra draft picks.
Right.
But I don't think it necessarily was as easy to put into practice as maybe they were saying in their head.
And then you throw this, and we got to get to the other side, but I don't want to give them a pass, but they did also have had really bad injury luck since the trade was made. So there is a world where I maybe they mess around, and that goes to the decision that they'll make next season, because they still didn't have. They're still missing guys. Still Malik out. Guys have been out. They haven't had their full roster. Part of that is towards the end of the season, people get dinged up and things happen. I know my allergies were going crazy today. So there has been a little bit of bad luck with the injuries. I just don't know if I'm willing to say, hey, if they didn't have the injuries, they might have messed around in the 6th seed, because what we did see wasn't that good, but they didn't get a lot of time together. So there is a world where it's, you know what? Maybe there was a level of bad luck here too.
Right. I agree with you. It just seems like everyone else is not willing to extend them that courtesy, because everyone's talking about what changes have to be made in the offseason and in the front office shakeup.
I think the other thing too, towards the end of the year, is, like we talked about, they've played a bunch of banged up teams, and they've lost to other banged up teams. Everyone during this time, you're either preparing for the playoffs, whatever it is. So I will say that it's not as if they're facing fully loaded teams. The Celtics really the most fully loaded team that we've seen them face on this homestand. On the other side, we keep saying that the Kings just want to go to the playoffs, but the moves they make kind of feels like they don't. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Thursday night, Kings and Trailblazers. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip-off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I need new rotors.
When you buy 2 Duralast rotors during our spring sale, you get Duralast brake pads free.
Free?
With the rotors.
Oh, that's great. What if I need extra stopping power?
You can upgrade to Duralast Gold pads for just $10.
So Duralast pads are free?
Yep.
And an upgrade is just $10?
That's right. Part of the spring sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. New Hondas are piling up, and that means big savings for you.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Bunch of text still coming through. And we normally get this one when we take a look back, from Dennis in Stockton. When do we stop talking about De'Aaron Fox and Mike Brown? We're starting to sound like the guy whose girlfriend broke up, moves on, and has a new boyfriend, and we can't move on ourselves. Let's move on. The team we have is the team we ride with until the offseason. We retool. From Dennis in Stockton. And I get that, Dennis. I think nights like last night, right? I'm not gonna sit here and break down the completely pointless exercise of what happened last night because the Kings are just not as good as the Thunder. And we saw that. So I don't need to tell you that the Kings were whatever they were from three. And I have it right here. I don't think it matters to me that the Kings were 47. That to me, they shot 48% from three and lost 121 to 105. That is one of the most impressive feats I've ever seen. They actually, this is the closest they got to their 50. 48 threes. 48 threes at 47.9%, and they lost by 20 points.
Thunder are so good, man. They are so good.
The Thunder shot 59%. Well, that's the other thing. The Thunder shot 59% from three. And that is why I found myself looking back at how we got here. Because when you do what the Kings did and you lose by 20, it kind of makes you think about how the hell did we get here? How the hell did we get here? Because to me, and this is what I was going to get into, when you look at what a lot of people say about this team, right? You hear a lot of, hey, all they want to do is make the playoffs. That's all they care about. They don't actually care about winning a championship. They don't care about being a real dynasty. They just want to get to the playoffs. And everybody knows the term, reach for the moon and you'll land amongst the stars. And I think that's part of it, right? If you're operating as a team that just wants to make the playoffs, you're always going to have a chance of not making the playoffs. If you're operating as a team that truly wants to win a championship, the playoffs become a given. So we look back on what happened because if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And where the Kings are at right now, they cannot keep living like this. It's embarrassing, not to me, but to them. And here's what I don't get. The whole time, everybody wants to talk about the playoffs thing, but if that were the case, why do you fire the only coach to take you to the playoffs in 20 years and trade the player who was the face of the franchise when you got there? Because fans are normally complaining about getting complacent. We've talked about the Jazz. We've talked about the Grizzlies prior to Ja Morant. But they didn't get complacent. They actually got too frantic. And because they became frantic, there was haste make waste, and they're actually worse than they currently were. So it's not that I want to keep going back in the past. It's just there really is not much of a future if they don't figure out the issues that they've had in the past. If you sit there and say, okay, and I've used the comparison before, your buddy who has a new job every 2 years, and they're not getting laid off. Right? But they're not necessarily growing either. Oh, I got the sales job. And I want to do this. Or, I want to do that. Brother, you would be a director level making six figures, maybe more, if you just stayed at the same place and built something. It's not going to happen overnight. A lot of, you hear about this, and it's funny, every level, you hear this. You think young kids, right? And young adults, they want it all right now. I get told that, and I don't think I'm a young adult per se, but people still say that. Allen, you're starting out in Sacramento. You got a really good base here. Your radio show is doing well. You got the River Cats coming up. Just chill. You're good. But me personally, I want to keep going. Now, I'm not going to jump around, but that wanting everything nowness, right, that you see from these young up-and-comers, that's where you see the whole haste make waste. And I always say, my uncle from Panama always says, haste make waste. You leave one place and now you got to start all over. Now you're mad that, someone else just got a promotion, or you found out somebody at your old job just got a promotion. At some point, they have to hunker down and just believe in something. So we can talk about the retooling, but if they don't believe in something and realize that they made a mistake, and not necessarily to move on from Mike Brown or De'Aaron, but the way that they did things, then what's going to happen, Dennis, probably is they're going to go through another year of middling, if you can even call it that, messing around with the play-in, and then what are they going to do? They're going to try to refresh it again, but not fully rebuild because we need those butts in the seats, which, by the way, didn't seem like it's really happening right now, if anybody watched the broadcast. So there are decisions to be made. So when I look back, I'm simply looking back to say, if they do this again, if they continue to do this, it's just going to be a cycle. And I know for a fact, trust me, I know for a fact that people in that organization listen to this show. I know for a fact. And I'm not saying they're taking they're taking what I say to heart and think, man, Allen might be right. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I know they listen. And when it's all official, we will share that story.
Well, maybe they don't anymore.
Well, then they're checked out too. That's part of the problem.
Well, okay, here's the part of it with the why does it keep coming up again. The reason why the Sacramento Kings are approaching the 10th, well, I guess they are in the 10th seed right now. The reason the Sacramento Kings are the 10th seed in the Western Conference is not because DeMar DeRozan is taking 21 shots a game instead of 17 shots a game. The reason is they fired the unanimous coach of the year in the middle of a losing stretch in December and then traded their all-NBA point guard at the trade deadline for a package that even they did not believe would make the team better in the short term.
Yeah.
That's the fundamental reason why we are here.
You have to invest in something. You know, you could look at this how the Kings decided to go with Doug Christie. They invested in Doug Christie. Doug Christie was on multiple coaching staffs, and they felt like he grew in the role. I'm sure this is not how they drew up the start of his tenure here in Sacramento, but it is well documented that Doug Christie, making it through a couple different coaching cycles, said something. It is not extremely typical. So that's telling us that the organization, they invested in Doug, right? And they're hoping to get some ROI, some return on investment as we keep this job comparison going. But they are not approaching the team the same way. They do not want to invest the same way other teams have invested. We bring up the Celtics, and I get it. Why bother bring up the Celtics? They're a big market. They always have an opportunity. So we don't have to bring up the Celtics. We could bring up the Nuggets. Imagine the Nuggets after that season, very similar actually. Imagine the Nuggets that season where it was a bunch of G Leaguers and plumbers, where Jokic had to take on the Warriors in 2022. Imagine the Nuggets after that season saying, you know, we went to the playoffs once. It's very similar. This whole thing, progress and all of this is linear. It's not. So the Nuggets went to the playoffs, right? They had a really good stretch. They then had the Jamal Murray situation, I believe. Jamal Murray's out. Nuggets still make the playoffs. Jokic is doing his thing. They lose. This is when Jordan Poole was the next Steph Curry. They lose to that Warriors team. Imagine the Nuggets at that point saying, man, we keep Jokic, but actually it would have been Jokic at that time. I guess, or he's a bonus, whatever it is.
Yeah, Jokic is the MVP point center.
Sure. So they keep Jokic. They move all the pieces at that point in time. You know what? It's not working. That we move all the pieces.
They had a deal on the table for Bradley Beal.
So they move those. They go get a Brad, and that's perfect because that's got Kings written all over it.
It's got Zach LaVine written all over it.
That is literally their Zach LaVine.
Yeah, they had an offer of, I think it was Beal for Porter Jr. and picks or something.
So let's say that they do that, right? And they give up the process. Do they still get the championship? I don't know, maybe. But there's an investment that you need to have. And the payoff for the investment might not be a championship. But most of the time, when you invest, you will get whatever level of success that you're hoping for. And we understand that it's all relative. I'm looking here. The Rockets, the Grizzlies, the Clippers, yeah, they're LA, right? We're not really counting the big cities. But the Timberwolves, investments, and you invest. And like I said, the Grizzlies, they invested when it was Zebo and Grindhouse. And because it's Memphis, they probably enjoyed themselves. They didn't get a championship, but they enjoyed themselves. And then they got to restart. That's how you do things. That's how you do things. So you cannot continue to just hop around, and expect to get a return on investment because you're not investing yourself. Okay, let's get to Kings Thunder. Let's get to the recap when we got Christie's cuts. As Doug Christie was, I don't want to say moral victory, but he did have some positive things to say as the Kings, they made it interesting last night, against a bunch of 21-year-olds. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Thursday night, Kings and Trailblazers. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Hey Mom, hey Dad, spring break is just around the corner. Take advantage of the extra time with your kids and schedule a fun and convenient dental appointment at Kids Care Dental and Orthodontics. It's our mission to deliver more fun and less fear. Our dental rock stars strive to give nothing but the best experience to both parents and kids. We have several convenient appointments available this week, even on Saturdays. With locations throughout the Sacramento area, we have a practice near you. To book online, go to kidscaredental.com. That's kidscaredental.com, where you can schedule an appointment today.
Spring is in the air, and there's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. Whether you're shopping for new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. And while life's roads are often filled with bumps, buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Taxes was taxing. Now taxes is relaxing when you file for free.
I can file for free. TurboTax Free Edition. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. I can file for free.
Now this is taxes. File for free with TurboTax Free Edition and get your maximum refund. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, and student loan interest. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Unbelievable.
All right. Those are the sounds of tax accountants rejoicing after experiencing the power of Blue Jay, the leading generative AI solution for tax research. Tax season is here, and if you're an accounting firm, the pressure is on. Long hours and tight deadlines make this time of year a challenge for even the most seasoned tax professionals. So, tax accountants, here's your solution. Blue Jay, the preferred partner solution of CPA.com for tax research. Ask a complex tax question, and Blue Jay gives you better tax answers in seconds. Save time and maximize your clients' refunds with high-speed, accurate, and intuitive AI technology built with a library of only the most trusted tax resources, updated daily to keep up with changes in tax. For a limited time, save 40% off at bluejay.com/start now. That's BLUE, the letter J.com/start now. Or text BLUE to 511-511. Blue Jay, generative AI for better tax answers. Text BLUE to 511-511 today. Tax fees may apply.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Plati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Woodland. Well, it's the Ram Truck Month sales event, and I know that means discounts.
Right now, you can save up to $17,500 off MSRP on new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4s. And we don't just have a few Rams. We have Northern California's biggest selection with over 500 new Rams available.
It's a big city savings with the small town customer service.
Exactly. When you shop at Hoblet, you become part of the family. Plus, we don't just have big savings on Ram trucks. We have almost almost 200 vehicles at the Hoblet Certified Pre-Owned Supercenter and over 30 under $20,000.
Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
17,500 total net savings after 10,500 factor rebates and 7,000 dealer discounts. Rebates include 2,000 Chrysler Capital bonus cash. Must finance through Chrysler Capital. 1,500 National Conquest dealer cash. Must currently own or lease a Ford, Chevy, or GMC brand vehicle. And 500 on-the-job upfit. Must show 500 plus eligible upfit. 5 of this net savings. Sample VIN 684-262. See dealer for details.
Tom's Watch Bar has the best happy hour in Sacramento, starting with $5 specials all day, every day. Plus select $7 appetizers and $12 entrees. With 360-degree viewing and game day vibes that match being at the game. Tom's Watch Bar is the ultimate game day experience for sports fans.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports 1140.
Here's Keegan Murray to beat the buzzer for 3 more. Score the triple. 25 for Keegan, 16 in the quarter. And that will do it on the inbounds pass by the Thunder. With 3 quarters in the books, the Kings have roared back to life thanks to knocking down, I believe they made 10 3-pointers in that last 12 minutes. That's almost unheard of.
You're home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
$11 o'clock hour, Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports. And it's funny, someone on the text line says a couple weeks ago, you had someone on the show who called out the Kings and was spot on talking about their rough leadership, questionable leadership. We'll put it to you like that. And that was, I believe, Chris Biederman. And he's going to be back on the show in an hour. So 916, you're not going to want to miss Chris Biederman's updates and his thoughts on everything that the Kings have going on now, as I actually think things were better the last time we had Chris on, and they are since not going so well.
I think that was the day before the Warriors game.
Yes.
Which I would agree. Vibes were a little bit better back then, because the thing people were most worried about was, oh no, they don't have enough practice time yet together.
Yeah. So he will be back on in an hour, 916. So yeah, you're not going to want to miss that. Chris Biederman, I don't want to say no filter, but kind of no filter in the best way possible. He's just going to tell it like it is in his opinion, right? Some you're not going to agree with everything, and you don't agree with everything that anybody says, right? That's just how it is, and that's what sports are about. As we get around to what the heck happened last night, one thing's for certain, Keegan Murray, and I know we're going to have this untouchable conversation probably multiple times this year, so I'm just going to put it out there now. Keegan is not moving. He's shown enough to me. And as this team has swayed, and as this team has kind of gone off the deep end a little bit, Keegan taking transition threes with a purpose, with intent, with everything he's doing. Keegan Murray showed me the things that he says. People wanted to start Podium Gate last night because Keegan and Keon were those who got tapped to do the post-game presser. You know what? I'm happy with that, because Keegan is the future of this team. And that's how I feel about it. And hopefully Keon is, if they can hold on to him. I don't really need to hear from maybe Sabonis, sure. A lot of times he says, similar things. I don't really need to hear DeMar DeRozan at this point. A lot of people think he's gone anyway. I want to hear about the future. And I want to hear how someone like Keegan is handling it. That's me being 100% honest. So, and I don't know if that's why they were picked, but I don't need to hear from, honestly, I know Zach LaVine, he's got another year and then the player option, but Keegan Murray is what excites me. Keon Ellis is what excites me, right? And I know they're just post-game pressers, but I'm not doing Podium Gate because this team, I don't even know who's going to be on it. I hope Keegan is, though.
I really just be chilling for real.
And Keon as well. So
Sacramento.
I didn't have a problem with the podium gate. I don't know if that was the reason they got picked, and I hear what people are saying, but personally, I'm okay with it because I'm focused on the growth of Keegan and the growth of Keon. That's where I'm at with it. And Keegan Murray has just been incredible, right? And that dude, he loves to show up nationally televised games, right? Going back to the play-in last season, last night against the Thunder, he's evolving. We talked about last season being the kind of caterpillar season. I don't know if he's a full-blown butterfly yet, but this second half of the season, I'm seeing what I wanted to see from Keegan Murray. I don't find myself wondering if he's going to be Harrison Barnes 2.0 anymore. Keegan Murray, and I'm not going to sit here and say that he's going to be a top 10 player in the league. I'm not, and he doesn't have to be. But Keegan Murray, the way he's playing basketball with a purpose, right? Understanding I am a top option here, right? I don't necessarily love what we're doing, and I'm putting words in Keegan's mouth here, but I know what my job is. And my job is to take open shots. You know why? Because I can hit them. And that's how my bread is going to be buttered. I'm starting to look around at what some of these guys are going to get paid, or some of these guys have been paid in restricted free agency. And I want to make sure that it's very clear what the future is in Sacramento, right? You got a 35-year-old DeMar DeRozan. You got Zach LaVine, who you're probably, I don't want to say stuck with, but that contract would not move easily. It took the Bulls 3 years, and Zach LaVine having the best season that he's had in 3 years. Domantas Sabonis, he's about to check in with ownership and leadership. We know what happened last time a summer started like that. So I'm out here to get mine. And that's what Keegan Murray is doing. 36 minutes. This dude is having to guard Steph Curry one night, Chet Holmgren the next night, Zion Williamson the next night, Trae Young the next night. I mean, it's incredible. And it's still giving you 28 points on 9 of 13 from 3. Okay? He blocked 3 shots, had a steal. I mean, and the rebounding, we've talked about it. 6 last night. One thing that I know for certain is going into the season and throughout the season, I don't know about Keegan, and somebody even had and I'm not even saying that this is the wrong thought process. Oh, what if we had traded Keegan for Lauri Markkanen? Maybe that could have been the right move. Maybe. I don't know, when we were doing our what if segment earlier this week. But now, Keegan is untouchable to me. That's for sure. And we'll come up with a full list. But he is untouchable to me. 28 points, most in a game since January 31st, 2024 against the Heat. Second game with 25 or more points this season, 14th of his career. Scored 25 points on 15 or fewer shots for the second time in his career. And, it's just been incredible. Just proving that he deserves whatever he's going to get this offseason for that extension. Kyle, we have that sound on Keegan and the rhythm and how it's kind of helped him so far. All right.
When I'm in a rhythm, I feel like I can do whatever from the 3-point line, but I feel like when I catch my rhythm, it's in transition. A sprint in the corner, again, an easy 3 that way. I feel like that kind of gets me going a little bit. So if I can get a transition 3 right off the bat, I feel like it's gonna be. Yeah, it's been tough to try and figure out how to hunt threes in a way with this team so far, but I feel like over the last couple of weeks, I've kind of felt like a rhythm in a way, and obviously Doug wants us to get up around 40, 45 threes a game, so I'll have to do my part in helping that.
So you heard it right there. He said it's been tough. It feels like he has to hunt threes. That's where we're at. And you know what? Sometimes you have to stop being polite. And I know I'm going to say the 2 words here, but I promise you I'm not looking back in time. But this does go back to the Mike Brown era. And Mike Brown saying Keegan needs to just kind of force the issue at times and put his foot down and say, hey, it's my time. Just like Skip Bayless. No, it's my turn now. You said it was my turn. That's what Keegan needs to do. And he's getting to the point now where it's you ever play pickup and if I pass this rock, I'm not getting it back. So I'm going to just take this transition 3 because I need to get mine. That's where Keegan is at right now. If I pass this basketball, I'm probably not getting it back. So I'm going to try to get mine now. And I love to watch it because that's the development. And that's no disrespect to the elder statesmen on the team. But when you're looking at a team that is fighting to stay in a play-in, I'm looking at the future now. And the future is Keegan Murray. And I'm not sitting here saying that he's going to be a top 5, top 10, top 20 player. I don't know. What I do know is that at some point, we needed to see Keegan put his foot down and say, I'm a part of this now. I'm a part of this now. And we're seeing Keegan play with a little bit more aura, if you will. He's talking to benches, right? He's doing things that we hadn't seen Keegan do in the past. And if we can take anything away from this season, I mean, and we'll do that, Kyle, when the season's officially over, I would say that second half from Keegan Murray from the start of 2025, January on, is maybe the main thing that stuck out to me.
Well, I have those numbers here for you.
Here we go.
He's shooting 47% from the field and 40% from the three-point line since January 1st of this past year. His scoring is at 13.4, which is lower than it was last year, but he's also taking fewer shots per game than he was last year. His field goal percentage was at 44% last year. He's at 47% through January, or from January 1st onward, which honestly is where I would look at Keegan's season. The season-long numbers are going to look not as good because of the tough shooting stretch he had the first 2 months of the season. So if you just take it from like December onward, Keegan's just had an excellent offensive season in the role they've asked him to do, while, as we've mentioned, guarding 1 through 4 pretty much every night, whoever the best 1 through 4 option is on the other team.
Yeah, and it's been great to watch. You know, and he's not a perfect player, and I can get caught up with the Trey Murphys and some of the other guys that have a bit more freedom and maybe offensively look a little bit more advanced, you know, as far as creating their own shots. But the more you watch Keegan, the more you start to see, okay, he's finding his lane, right? And as long as he finds his lane, this dude is going to have an opportunity. We've been waiting for him to have to guard the best player and still have the sea legs to make jump shots and take jump shots. We've been waiting for him to say, hey, this is my rock. Get out the way, dude. You've been dribbling for 3 hours now. It's my time. It's my time now. And that is, at the very least, what we've been seeing. Let's recap what happened. The gauntlet is, I guess, over. So let's recap how the Kings did in the gauntlet, and then we'll get to some pocket watching as well. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Thursday night, Kings and Trailblazers. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. New Hondas are piling up, and that means big savings for you.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
When an overwhelmed injury victim calls Ashton or Price, we immediately remove their legal burden and introduce them to the very best medical care in the region. They focus on their health, and we handle all the rest. When they reach the end of their medical journey and are reunited with happiness and hope, we unleash our decades of legal experience to obtain maximum compensation. We are real, local, experienced litigators and snappy dressers too. Consultation's free, and there's never a fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sacktown Sports.
The gauntlet is over. And thank goodness the gauntlet is over. Recapping the Kings during the gauntlet month of March, and then we'll get to some of your calls. Casey, we see you waiting. Chris Biederman joins us in 45 minutes. The Kings, 23rd in net rating, which is not good. There's 30 teams. 15th in offensive rating, so middle of the pack. A lot of this was without Sabonis, don't get me wrong. 24th in defensive rating. Also not good. Denver was worse, which Denver, they're very open about how bad they are on defense. Charlotte's terrible. Philly's terrible. The Mavericks are terrible because they're super injured. Pelicans are terrible. And the Spurs are terrible. So one of these things is not like the other in the Denver Nuggets, but they also have Jokic, and that's the one knock on Jokic when it comes to the MVP conversation. Well, he doesn't play two ways, right? And SGA does. So not great company to be with. 5-10 record with wins against a struggling Cleveland team, Memphis without Ja, the at Houston, which was, the one, and Dallas and Utah, who are both bad. So, the gauntlet is over. The games in March aren't over. And the one thing that we hoped would happen with the Kings just to survive the month of March, 5-10. If you're surviving, the water is rising quickly. Your nose the water's right under your nose. So you're surviving, but you better find someone like those movies where the water is rising. You better find someone to save you. Someone's got to come in with a pickaxe and drain the water, or you're toast.
Okay, like Titanic is what you're saying.
That's right.
And whatever Titanic knockoffs they've made in the last 30
and
years.
Sharknado.
Oh, God. How many? They made like 5 of those, right?
Yeah, I found myself, I don't know why, but I found myself just watching this thinking, they really created this.
They've made a lot of them.
I know I just role played with the Vivek Monty McNair, hey, let's fire our coach and trade our best guy situation. How about the table of writers and the Sci-Fi Network when they greenlit Sharknado? And not even just one, however many they got to, once they got to 5 or whatever the case is, hey, let's run it back.
Wow, the last one is called The Last Sharknado, It's About Time. So even they are making jokes about it.
And I think that's why it survived, because it was ridiculous. Nobody thought it was serious, right?
Wow, they made 6 of these. That's crazy.
It's like when Will Ferrell did a Lifetime movie, but it was real, but also not real, but kind of real.
Okay, the first one got a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's see what we go since. So we go.
It's got to go down.
77 to 61 to 36 to 14.
Now we're talking.
To 30%. So an increase for Sharknado 5 Global Swarming.
What was the one that was 14%?
That was Sharknado. Wow, Sharknado: The Fourth Awakens.
That's probably the one I watched. That's
Truly interesting. And then the last one has a 27%. Again, literally called The Last Sharknado, It's About Time.
So, they're trying to survive here at 5-10. I guess they did.
Okay, so let's go back in time a little bit here. And I'll mention they have, 2 games left in March at this point? If I'm doing the math correct, I believe 3 games left in March. So when we first started out the month, we said they have 18 games and 12 of them are against a team with a positive net rating in the second half of the season. So if you took a loss against all of those teams, they would be 6-12.
Right.
Which means if you call the Kings a 500 team, you would expect them to go 6-12 in this month. Well, right now they're at 5-10 with games against Portland, the Magic, and the Pacers. So
they're probably going to end right at 500.
Well, right where you would expect
them
to be. If you would expect them to go 6-12, right now they're looking like pretty 6-12-y. If you say lose to the Blazers, beat the Magic, lose to the Pacers, that's 6-12 right there. Yeah. So you could argue they played to exactly what an average to below average team should have done in the stretch of March.
Which I guess makes you feel better, and they're losing They're losing one of those games. I'm not going to say, I don't know if it's the Blazers, the Pacers, the Magic. They're losing at least one, could be more. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Casey, who's been waiting. What's up, Casey? What you got for us?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing?
So I know you guys have to walk the line sometimes on ownership, but is it okay if I criticize ownership? Was that allowed on this show?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Just keep it clean and you're good.
So I'm a longtime Kings fan since I was in my teenage years. I'm 43 now, so I've been through all the bad seasons, and I've been through the good seasons too in my late teens and early 20s. And, you know, I've come to the conclusion that the biggest problem is our ownership. And, you know, for the last 8 years, we've been bringing back players from the golden years, and it's like our ownership treats this more as a business than they do as trying to win. You know, they're trying to keep fans happy by bringing Vlade back and Peja back and Bobby Jackson and Doug Christie and Mike Bibby instead of focusing on the team. And, you know, I could tell you that these last 3 years have been more frustrating because of what I think we should be, as opposed to the 16 years losing, because we didn't have any hope in those years.
Yeah, I think we lost you, Casey, but that's a great mic drop if that's all you wanted to say, because going back to the conversation we were having this morning about, you know, some fans still just happy to be competitive, it really just depends on what your expectations are, right? And it's easy when you don't have expectations to not be upset, to be disconnected. But I think a part of this too is when you have the quotes that come out about Sacramento is going to be second to no one, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that, but then the actions that are happening don't maybe match up, that's a problem. And people are going to feel like, well, you want to talk the talk, but you're not walking the walk. And that is what upsets people. If you're, and it goes back and forth where we're going to say this stuff about building up Sacramento, and everybody knows that they're thankful that the Kings are still here. So there's that level of it as well. But when you're sitting here talking this kind of big talk, but then as far as actually being responsible and doing what it takes to get there, right? And I don't think there is a belief that they don't want to get there, because even if they were in the playoffs, we haven't even had the chance to beat our drums and say, man, this team loses in the first round every season. I'm so sick of this. They haven't even got there. So we can't even complain about that yet. I think it's just the way that they're trying to get there doesn't work or is not working. So I don't think it's a matter of they don't want to succeed. It's just how they're trying to succeed is not normally how it works. And we've seen that that's not normally how it works. We've seen it in Phoenix. We've seen it in Brooklyn. So funny enough, there's two KD teams right there. But we've seen it. We've seen it in Los Angeles. These quick fixes, right? And the quick fix thing, that is something that is, I think, fairly new in a way, because this was your first chance to invest in something. So to get out of Dodge in less than 3 years, that's where people are thinking, whoa, you said you said you're doing this, and the whole thing went to you know what because of a 5-game losing streak. Like if you got to the end of the season, like I said, you could even give it 3 years, right? I know like a lot of people used to do the Mark Jackson to Steve Kerr thing when talking about, hey, is Mike Brown maybe just a bridge type of guy? And I'd have to look up how many years it was with Mark Jackson, if it was 2 or 3 years. But you give it 3 years, you give them a bit of a mulligan because of you lose Malik Monk last season. And then you say, hey, at the end of this season, oh, we're a playing team again. So it was 3 years with Mark Jackson. 3 years, right? They messed around. They lost, to early on in the playoffs, and Warriors decided, yeah, this is not enough. This is not our guy. But you had the huge injury to Malik Monk and to a lesser degree, Kevin Huerter last season, you still had to, for those people out there, you got to beat the Warriors, do night on the court. Then this season, you sign Mike Brown to an extension, and then you move off of him after a 5-game losing streak. You could have at least just got to the end of the season. What did you save? Right? You got Mike Malone saying no class, no balls. Come on. On the other side, let's keep this thing rolling with a little bit of pocket watching. All right, this is where we attempt to be positive. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
No class, no balls.
Thursday night, Kings and Trailblazers. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA3 Weather Center. Welcome to your Wednesday. Getting out the door to a mild beginning to the day, and changes start to roll in as we head through the afternoon. We'll see a bit of an increase in clouds. We'll feel a bit of a south breeze. Temperature is not as hot. Highs today peak in the low to mid 70s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we've acquired some of the best pre-owned cars we can find. Whether you purchase a new Honda or a like-new pre-owned Honda, Elk Grove Honda has the right Honda at the right price. In the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard, or elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
At Elk Grove Honda, not only do we have a great selection of pre-owned cars at very fair prices, but every one of our pre-owned automobiles are treated with kid gloves with a 182-point inspection that covers everything from unibody to tires to brakes and engine filters. Then our cars receive a mobile oil change and fresh fill-up with full synthetic mobile oil. We know you have lots of choices of where to purchase your next car. Come to Elk Grove Honda, home of the 182-point inspection and mobile oil change. We're in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. Subcontractorsunited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
Are you tired of your tee shots ending up in the adjoining fairway while the rest of your foursome is hitting it down the middle? Well, experts will tell you that being properly fitted for golf clubs will help you strike your drive center cut. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio and its team of trained PGA professionals are ready to help you get rid of your banana balls and duck hooks. Hagen Oaks Indoor-Outdoor Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
And now a brief history of the garage door. Garage doors could date back to 450 BC when chariots were stored in gatehouses. Here in the States, they became a thing around the start of the 20th century. You could find a float-over door in a catalog way back in 1906. National Garage Door has been around since 1974. They're family-owned and operated, so you can trust them to solve any garage door issues you may have. Squeaky door, malfunctioning door, or a need for a new door, which is what prompted us to give them a call, 916-638-4554. At National Garage Door Services, their number one priority. I've witnessed that commitment in my own home, certainly in our garage. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer-branded garage doors. They are the nation's BSE broken spring experts. So if you have a garage door that looks and sounds like it dates back to 450 BC, National Garage Door can help, whether it's a garage door tune-up, repair, or replacement you need. They'll take care of you at National Garage Door, 916-638-4554. That's 916-638-4554. National Garage Door.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-902-5454. 800-902-5454.
JCPenney makes spring fashion look so easy. Throw on something light, bright, and extra comfy. Mix and match new arrivals from your fave brands and create affordable outfits with ease, like the perfect St. John's Bay polo paired with chinos, or a simple sweater and denim combo from A&A. Get that Liz Claiborne handbag you love, plus those cute sandals to match. For warmer nights, pick out cool, lightweight sleep sets from Umbriel. Come shop, bring the fam, and start chasing those spring vibes now. JCPenney, make it count.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/SactownSports1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Great convos today with the faithful, that's the Niners, the Beam faithful, okay? I don't want to get in trouble here. I know it's sponsored. If you've been listening to the show for, 2 years, almost, October will be 2 years, so not that close, but
year and a half.
These months are flying by. You are aware that there was a conversation that was had and a question that was asked by yours truly about the Beam. That question ended up going viral. Matt George and I at the time didn't really know each other, and he got wind of it and amplified it on social media, and a lot of people were not happy when I asked the question as to if the Kings make the playoffs, or if the Kings miss the playoffs, or if the season just gets derailed, would you get rid of the Beam? That was the question. And the whole thing got blown up. I had just moved out here. I honestly thought it was an innocent question, and people were not happy with me.
Yeah, Alan Mita got checked.
Yes, I got checked in quick, fast, and in a hurry. A year later now, again, I'm not asking, and people have said, not me, but I've seen it on the Sac Chat. I've seen it on the text line. I do wonder, though, if the Beam team gets completely obliterated, right? Or if there's only one person. I was thinking about this driving in. What made actually when I was driving home, what made the Beam team? Was it the collection of Sabonis, De'Aaron? Would that have still felt like the Beam team? Would it have to be three of them? Malik, Keegan, Kevin Huerter. At what point would you have felt, yeah, the Beam team is kind of gone? And because that term got coined, can you still have can you still call them the Beam team if they're completely new, right? You've already had two new guys with DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. We don't know what's going to happen this offseason. De'Aaron is gone. Kevin Huerter was a huge part of the Beam team. He's gone. And the conversation initially was, I don't know if this is a tradition or a shtick, right? That's what I had asked. I said, hey, Chicago Cubs, they fly the W. A couple people do different things. What is it that the Beam is? And of course, people to me said, no, it's not a shtick. It's what we do now. It doesn't matter who's on the team. But I do wonder now, as we see the Beam less and less, if fans feel differently about the Beam, because things are very nostalgic, right? You hear a song and it can remind you of a summer love, or reminds you of one of the best summer camps that you ever went to because you sang that song. Every time I just went on my golf trip with my buddies, we normally have a song that is popular at the time that when you hear it, you think back. There's one that we still play. We played it in San Diego that we played before. So
that's cute.
It makes every playlist, because this is the song we play when we're on our guys trip. And I do wonder, does the Beam still give you good feelings when you see it, or does it honestly start to remind you of what could have been.
So what was the song?
Well, I don't need to say the song.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't want to get judged.
Well, this is a safe space. It's just you and me right here.
So the song is Chasing You by Morgan Wallen. That's what
okay.
It doesn't even make sense, but when you're enjoying yourself and you just hear someone hit a Chasing You, you just do it right back to
it. It could have been worse.
Okay.
All right. It could have been a lot worse.
It makes every playlist that we have and it really only started last year in Scottsdale, but it made this playlist and it was still the song of the week.
What matters is that it means something to you guys. The song itself is irrelevant, but it emotionally means something to you guys, which is the point of the Beam.
Yes.
The Beam team itself is always going to have a special place. I still remember to this day, people were saying, and I kind of agreed with them, they should build like little mini statues of the Beam team outside the stadium because of how important that team was.
Right.
And while the Beam will remind people of the Beam team, it's now evolved, and I think probably was at the time, but it's now just evolved into a Sacramento landmark of sorts.
But that's, I understand what you're saying. What I'm asking is when you see the Beam, do you still get the same feelings that you did, or is there any bad feelings towards the Beam?
I mean, unless you're rooting for the Kings to lose. Then...
No, but originally it was, oh yeah, the Beam is lit. Let's go. They won. Now it's, guess they finally won a game. The Beam is lit.
But I feel like that's a symptom of disassociation from the team. Like, that's not a Beam-specific issue. That's one symptom of a broader, I'm disassociating from the team.
I don't know, man. I don't know. And I'm not saying to get rid of it. I just wonder, does it still give you that feel good that it did? Because it's associated. When you see the Beam, you think of Kevin Huerter nailing that three. You think of Keegan Murray, the young kid on the block.
Maybe you do, and maybe some fans do. And if that's the case, then I guess maybe it'll evolve the next time we have a great finish or a come from behind win.
You need new memories. Adrian Sanchez, who says he's judging me for the pick. Look, it's one of the only country songs I have, and it's just a hitter. I'm sorry. Adrian Sanchez also said, bad feelings never. Maybe just light it and not have a player smack the button every time, though. Okay, so evolve it a little bit. Hey, we won. Let's light it. We don't need to do the thing and play the song and, have everybody come around. And I hear that. I do hear that. 15 years from now, you're still going to be doing that. I see the arguments because 15 years from now, it's going to be a kid's first game. And they want, but does a kid, you go to the game, and how do you remove that experience? So if you just light it, the kid wants it. You actually saw the Kings win, right? Which we don't know how few and far between that's going to be. So that kid goes, they win. You see Sabonis, your favorite player, light the Beam, or whoever it is, or Dougie McBuckets, light the Beam.
If 15 years from now, I'm taking little Kyle to a Sacramento Kings game.
15? You're getting started earlier than me.
Well, I got some time to work still.
I'm just saying.
If in 15 years I'm taking a little kid to the game and they win, I'm still going to take the same photo on my same cell phone and, put it to whatever social media is out there because it does make you feel good. Mm-hmm. Even if it's just for that singular night.
Right.
It doesn't have to be some macro thing about it because now it's essentially a Sacramento landmark. It doesn't exist all the time.
Yeah.
But when it does, it's Sacramento's thing. Okay. So it is our fly the W, that it's going to exist into perpetuity. And even if people are reminded of what the Beam team wasn't after it happened, it was still a pretty fun season.
Yes.
And 5 years from now, I mean, this is kind of the brash way of thinking. 5 years from now, we're not going to be thinking about Kevin Huerter or Domantas Sabonis or Keegan Murray anymore.
Wow.
I mean,
5 years from now, you cannot throw Keegan in there.
Maybe not Keegan.
That's disrespectful.
I mean, Keegan will always have a special place in my heart.
Did you see his game last night?
The broader point, though.
Wow.
Call it Doug
Cut
McDermott.
that yourself. Cut that yourself. You cut it. You cut my stuff when I say crazy stuff. You cut that yourself. You hold yourself accountable.
I mean, look at the team from 2019 and think about that team now. Are we still going to be thinking about Doug McDermott? Are we still going to be thinking about all these guys?
Wow. Look, the beam now, we're getting a bunch of texts coming through and Sac Chat, so I will read what everyone's feeling about the beam now, and we will also get to pocket watching what's on tap tonight. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Thursday night, Kings and Trailblazers. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip-off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Hey, everybody, it's your boy Kyle Draper. You know I'm a big guy, right, everybody? So sometimes, even my SUV or sedan, I want a little more space. Maybe I want to take the fellas to the football game or to the basketball game. Maybe I want to go golfing. Well, Mercedes-Benz of Stockton has the perfect solution. They have a Vans Fleet Center, and they understand your business needs. They understand your personal needs as well. They have a great inventory and a huge selection, and plus they have the perfect van to power your fleet, including the new fully electric e-Sprinter alongside those reliable diesel options. So if you're looking for a new van just for personal reasons or even for your business fleet, head on over to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. And get this, you can take advantage of their exclusive limited time 0% APR financing offer for up to 60 months on select models. So head down to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton or online at mbfstockton.com and tell them Drape sent you.
Get ready, NorCal. The Lodi Beer Fest and State Barbecue Championship is on Saturday, April 26th at the Lodi Grape Festival grounds. There will be something for everyone. Craft beers from over 50 breweries, live music, outrageous food, games, plus taste barbecue from world-class barbecue teams. For tickets and more information, go to grapefestival.com. Must be 21 years of age or older to attend. The Lodi Beer Fest, where great brews meet legendary cues. Saturday, April 26th in Lodi.
Did you know colon cancer can be detected early or prevented through regular screening?
I have detected around Earth is the greatest lie ever.
Okay, Roger. My uncle just passed away and I inherited his cockatoo, Roger. He was a member of the Flat Earth Society, so Roger picked up on some of his rhetoric. Anyway, screening, such as a colonoscopy.
Screen these! Screen these!
Roger that, Roger. Moving on. Colonoscopies can detect early-stage colon or rectal cancer or even polyps, which are abnormal growths that can turn into cancer over time.
I'm a Flat Earth walker.
Come on, Roger. What did I do to my uncle to deserve you? You don't get to choose what you inherit, just like colon cancer. Unlike Roger here, I believe in science. And science says that if colon cancer runs in your family, you're more likely to develop it yourself. Talk to your doctor about when you should start screening. Find out more at coloncancercoalition.org. A message from the Colon Cancer Coalition.
It's Carmichael Dave talking to you about my good friends at American Energy. You're in the Sacramento area. You know how the seasons work. They are a-changing right now. So American Energy wants to help you stay warm for the rest of the cold season, but help you stay cool during the warm season. Best way to do that, make sure your system is operating safely. So right now is the time to take advantage of half off a tune-up, $24.50. They cut that right in half, and if you want a diagnostic, guess what? You can't beat free. If it's free, it's me, and now it can be you. And also, it's the end of the season blowout. $4,000 off a new system plus any rebates. That $4,000, that's a direct drop from the sticker price. It's a great deal. Check them out at theaeway.com or an instant quote, or give them a call at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Tell them your good buddy Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
If you've always wanted to be a part of that Jeep life, there's no better time than now than the 2025 Jeep Wrangler. And no one has a better selection than Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. The Jeep Wrangler has been unmatched in off-road capability for over 80 years. But being a Jeep owner, it's so much more than the performance on and off the road. It's a lifestyle. It's camaraderie. It's the versatility and the customization. The new Jeep Wrangler, it's better than ever. And you won't be able to find a better car buying experience or selection than at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Tom's Watch Bar has the best happy hour in Sacramento, starting with $5 specials all day, every day. Plus select $7 appetizers and $12 entrees with 360-degree viewing and game day vibes that match being at the game. Tom's Watch Bar is the ultimate game day experience for sports fans.
Allen Stiles.
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
On Sacktown Sports.
Oh, yeah. Talk about the beam. It gets the people going. 916 says, crush your dream beam team. 408 says, great thoughts on the beam, Allen. Been thinking it needs to go. I want to remember that one season and that team and players. Need something new going forward. Sadly, those are just old memories. This is Ted from the 916. The beam represents eternal hope we have for this team. The beam is permanent. That's Ted from El Dorado Hills. The 760. The beam was based on the Angels baseball team lighting the halo in the parking lot. They haven't stopped lighting it for a W because it's tradition. The beam needs to stay a tradition. Yeah, if the Angels are still doing that, that might be one of the only teams with worse luck than the Kings.
The Angels, who are a 20-win equivalent in baseball.
That's true.
I think those 4 texts are really emblematic of the conversation because the beam means something different to each of those 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
One person associates it with the beam team. One person associates it with eternal hope. One person associates it with positive memories. So to each their own. Everyone's going to create their own memories with the beam, which is why it's super cool that this is a thing that's stuck, which I think is amazing, not just because it was the first year I was working around the Kings and sports, but because it's something that felt like hope and optimism and breaking the longest playoff drought in NBA history. I'm glad that it had that now and can have new meaning today.
916 Rancho Mice says the beam team is the city. Again, it's not just the players, it's the city. And will we see a beam for the rest of the season? I think we will. I have some great news, people. I have some outstanding news as we get into the pocket watching segment. This is the first time where I have opened the Tankathon strength of schedule, and I had to scroll. I'm thinking, where? Top 8? No, they were second for a while. Top 10. Where are the Kings at? We're talking about the playoff opportunities, things like that. The Kings are not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. The Kings are number 16 in strength of schedule.
Whoa.
16 in strength of schedule. Okay? The Phoenix Suns, these are the percentages that we were talking about. The Phoenix Suns still number 1. They still have the Thunder. They still have 2 against the Celtics. Now, could they get lucky and the Celtics have their situation wrapped up? It's possible. They have the Rockets. Rockets don't have anything wrapped up. The Knicks kind of do. The Warriors definitely don't. And they have the Bucks, who now, that's the problem with Tankathon. Now they have the Bucks with no Dame Lillard.
Yeah, but they haven't had Dame Lillard for a while. And to be honest, the Kings lost to the Bucks without Dame Lillard.
I do have bad news, though. This is the first time I've ever fired up Tankathon and have seen the Sacramento Kings under easiest opponents.
Wait, really? For what team?
For the Suns, for the Pistons, for the Cavs, for the Nuggets.
Damn, I guess that's just below 500.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But hey, no, this is the positive segment, okay?
So are we the Suns' second easiest game left?
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yes. Kings and the Spurs.
Oof, and that's the last game of the season, too. Man. They talked to Jared Greenberg, who did a great job on the broadcast yesterday, brought it up on the air. It's like the schedule makers delivered us a gift because it could be a play-in to the play-in between the Suns and the Kings or a play-in to host the play-in.
Right. So you have Sacramento at 16, just going around the other teams of those 3 trying to make it into the 2 final play-in spots. Dallas is actually at 18. So Dallas getting Anthony Davis back, this is a bit scary. Dallas has 2 more against the Clippers, 1 against the Grizzlies, 1 against the Lakers. Then on the easy side, they have a Nets game, a Raptors game, a Bulls game, a Magic game, and a Hawks game. The Hawks beat the Warriors without Steph Curry. The Magic beat the Lakers with Luka and with LeBron.
The Hawks have a better record than the Kings.
Yeah. The Bulls have been doing their kind of Portland Trailblazers thing. They've been hot. And then, the Raptors and the Nets are terrible. So it's going to be interesting. No one is going to give any of these teams anything. The Kings still have another against the Cavs. Maybe the Cavs will be wrapped up by then. The Nuggets won't have anything wrapped up. The Pacers always want to beat the Kings because of Tyrese, and they've been rolling. The Clippers are still fighting to get to that 6th seed. The Pistons are still fighting to hold on to their 6th seed.
They're pretty much the 6th.
Yeah, and then you have – this is where it gets good for the Kings if they can figure it out, and a lot of these are coming up. Wizards, Hornets, Blazers, Magic, and funny enough, the Suns are in easiest opponents for the Kings.
So basically they have 10 games left. 4 of them are against below 500 teams. 5 of them are against above 500 teams, and 1 is the Suns, the last game of the season, which will decide the tiebreaker, by the way, because Sacramento's won 2 and Phoenix has won 1. So that last game decides the tiebreaker for the season. So seems like they got kind of a mixed bag at this point going forward, which makes me feel better about their chances to get to 500.
Yeah, and speaking of, this is from Frankie Cardicelli, the Sacramento Kings are 11-25 against teams with winning records this season. They're also 24-12 against sub-500 teams, and 4 of their next 5 opponents will be under the 500 mark. So, they're probably going to jump back up after these 4 games, so they have a quote-unquote easy stretch there. Look, if you're a bad team merchant, that's fine, but you have to beat the bad teams. That's been the issue with the Kings losing that Bulls game, which is just a rough go. But they have an opportunity as far as what is going on tonight and where everything stands. So, the Kings are tied with the Suns right now. They have a half game on the Mavericks, who the Mavericks lost. The Mavericks lost last night.
They also have the tiebreaker against Dallas.
They do, which, obviously that'll all reveal itself as they take on the Suns. Tonight, you have Lakers at Pacers, Clippers at Knicks. We're not paying attention to the Clippers anymore, unfortunately. Celtics at Suns. That's the big one, 7 o'clock. Celtics at Suns. What will the Suns do? I'm assuming Jason Tatum isn't playing, but maybe it was just sore. Any of the Bucks at the Nuggets, obviously, no Dame Lillard dealing with that blood clot, that deep vein thrombosis, and just kind of a rough go for just the Bucks in general. That will never go down as one of the best team, best team that never was. They won't ever be in that conversation, but really a rough go for the Bucks after trading for Dame.
Well, it's just been injuries, right?
Yeah.
Dame got hurt in the playoffs last year, and now he's going to miss it again. I mean, if you look back at the whole Giannis run, they made the finals once and won it. They came within a game of going back to the finals the year after. So I think it was still pretty successful, just not as good. Also, Jason Tatum doubtful tonight.
Yeah, see, so Suns will probably get the Celtics without Jason Tatum.
But who's coming back? Al Horford.
And his shot that takes about 4 hours to get in the air. He'll hit him, though. He'll hit him. He's still out there. He's still doing his thing. So we're Celtics fans tonight. They could definitely still beat the Suns without Jason Tatum, but we're gonna need a lot of Derek White and a lot of Jaylen Brown in order to get it done. On the other side, Chris Biederman always gets it done. He joins us from the Sacramento Bee to talk Kings and what is going on in Sacramento. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Thursday night, Kings and Trailblazers. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-5795. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-611-5252. 800-611-5252. 800-611-5252.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's business solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
For 70 years, we've been known as the Humane Society of the United States. But as the challenges animals face have grown, so have we. We are now called Humane World for Animals. And if you love animals, you're part of our world. Humane World for Animals. The end of animal cruelty.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. New Hondas are piling up, and that means big savings for you.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda. One-stop Honda shop.
KHD HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
$12 o'clock on the dot. Well, it's about to be 11:59, and we are joined by Chris Biederman of the Sacramento Bee. Chris Biederman, thank you so much for joining us, my guy. Trying to get Chris. Chris, are you muted? Or Chris can't hear us. He's looking at us, but he can't hear us. We will work on getting Chris Biederman as I'm just reading through some of these texts. And Someone says the beam is vision. I don't know what that means. Get some. Okay, maybe I can't see. That's from the 970. I don't know if I missed something there. Going back to the SAC chat, long live the beam. I hear you on that one. David says, I feel sorry for the beam right now. And yeah, the beam has been pretty lonely all season long, right? And last season when things got fired up and there were a lot of expectations. I remember how quickly things change. Starting out working here and the media day, there was talk about championship culture, things like that. And now we're trying to figure out what the next steps are for the Sacramento Kings as they, just get through this gauntlet. It was a rough gauntlet going back to the Thunder game last night, 64 points. The Thunder, they called it. The halftime show did. They called it kind of an interesting halftime group, by the way, with Shaq, Vince Carter. You could tell they don't work together terribly often. It was fine, right? It was kind of, hey, let's just get some of the crew out there. It was fine. Obviously, it's not the big boys or all the big boys besides Shaq. Then they had Logan Paul and his brother on the show to promote their new show. So, and Logan Paul, or one of the Pauls, was doing the morning routine thing, dumping his face in the water. It was a lot. It was a lot, especially after your team got destroyed. It was definitely a lot. But the Thunder at halftime, 64 points on 59% shooting, field goal percentage, and you again shot 57% from three on 100% from the line. All 9 Thunder players who entered the game recorded a made field goal. They assisted 17 of 23 made field goals. And it just was a rough go. And to kind of break down how rough that go was, we're going to try this with a swing number 2. Chris Biederman joins us.
What's going on?
There we go. Chris Biederman of the Sacramento Bee joins us. Chris, thanks so much for joining us. And look, I got a text, Chris. I was not going to bring this up, but I got a text that, I've joked with you before, or the inside joke is that I've only known you since you've been engaged. So I joked with you about being engaged for a very long time, but you've been engaged for an appropriate amount of time. I've just only known you as an engaged man, and that is ending soon as you're getting married, next week or so?
Yeah, a week from Saturday, officially. We're it's coming up close.
So, okay, not to get too far in the weeds, but location, are you traveling? Where's the wedding? Where's the honeymoon?
The wedding will be in Midtown Sacramento at an undisclosed location.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, we're really excited about it. I think there might even be some listeners who are involved and or coming to the wedding and or the after party. So it's going to be a great time, but I'm going to refrain from making too many details public. But I am. We're really excited. We're in the home stretch, and we're super excited. It's going to be a fun time.
Can I get honeymoon or no?
Honeymoon. We're going to Costa Rica.
Okay, that's what we're talking about here. That is what we're talking about here, Chris. That is going to be outstanding. I've heard great things about Costa Rica, so we'll have to link up at the one of the media dinners and chat about it once you get back. Okay.
Sure.
Enough is I had to pay it off, Chris. I'll tell you who texts me after we get off here. But Chris Biederman, Sacramento Bee, joins us. Engaged, about to be wed. And with that being said, Chris, it looks like the Kings might be trying to divorce from each other with how poorly they've been playing. Before we get into how we got here, is there any part of you, we dove into this a little bit, right? And I know what we saw wasn't great, but they didn't get enough time. Is there any part of you, even just a small part, that thinks, they did get really unlucky with their health? Any part of you that feels like that?
Yeah, I guess to a certain extent, but I think when you're planning a season, or when you're looking at a season and a stretch run, you always have to account for that. I think a smart way to build a team and the smart mindset to have is to always assume that there's going to be attrition during a season, and that, can our roster withstand an injury here, an injury there, and still get to where we want to go. I think that has to be part of the calculus, because no one ever plays 82 games. Even Domantas Sabonis, one of the most durable players in the league the last few years, has missed time. I think you just have to account for that. And so for the Kings specifically, in the decision-making process to fire Mike Brown and trade De'Aaron Fox for Zach LaVine, I think part of the calculus had to be, man, how difficult is it going to be to make the playoffs or make the play-in while going through all these drastic organizational changes? I think that has to be part of the calculus. And I think we're seeing how difficult it can be when you do go through all those drastic changes while also trying to compete down the stretch run, get to the playoffs. And I think that's got to be part of the argument for deciding, like, hey, if you're going to make all these drastic decisions, tear it down to the studs, make sure you keep your draft pick, accumulate as many assets as you can going forward. So then you're in a position to be where, say, the Oklahoma City Thunder are, with all of their assets that they've accumulated over the years, knowing that, look, they won 22 and 24 games in Mark Daigneault's first two seasons in 2001 and 2002, with the understanding that, like, it's going to take patience, it's going to take time. The Kings have gone another direction and said, we're going to try to remake this on the fly. And I think with that comes the difficulties that we've seen them deal with.
Talking to Chris Biederman of the Sacramento Bee. Well, and real quick, Chris, we were trying to figure out what other teams have even done something like that, right? The Lakers, that Luka move, that's still more so for the future. What they attempted, the double trouble of the coach and De'Aaron Fox, that's nuts, right? So it's not even really something that we've seen before.
Yeah, I would agree. I got off the top of my head, I don't know.
We talked about the Nets, but that whole thing was kind of Elmer glued together anyway. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and I think too that, like, I understand that there's, there were 16 years of not going to the playoffs, and I understand that there's the context of history and just getting to the playoffs is a big win. I understand that line of thinking, but the other side of it is the long-term cost. It's like, you didn't have to necessarily trade De'Aaron Fox. And if they do end up moving on from Monty McNair, Wes Wilcox is already gone. If you do end up moving on from Monty McNair in the offseason, you would have let Monty McNair make one of the biggest trades in recent franchise history without seeing it through, when you could have just shut De'Aaron Fox down, make sure you kept your draft pick, and then allowed, if you're bringing in a new GM, the new GM to make that deal. And then you have some sort of continuity, because you're going to have a GM now that's inheriting a situation that they might not have wanted, or you're going to make the GM search much more difficult because it's a scenario where the GM didn't get to make that trade. The GM is coming into a situation where they might be locked into Zach LaVine over the next few years on that contract and saying, man, we don't have a lot of assets to work with, and the best asset we had, De'Aaron Fox, is already out the door.
Talking to Chris Biederman of the Sacramento Bee. Chris, let's get out of the deep weeds for a second and just look at the dandelions. Would you, at this point, change the lineup? Right? I thought it was too late. I don't know, almost a month ago to change the lineup. I don't want to tick off Malik Monk, anything like that, just for a couple more minutes of Keon. And I just don't think this team is very good. Would you make any lineup changes? And what do you think? I'm not asking for source information here, but what do you think the level of power Doug Christie has to make a change like that?
Yeah, and this is just me speculating, to be clear. Like, I think Doug is more or less in survival mode and trying to do what he can to keep his job. And I think that's a really delicate balance, because you do have DeMar DeRozan, who commands a lot of oxygen within the offense. He has more pedigree than anybody else on the roster. He's probably the only future Hall of Famer you have on the roster. I mean, maybe that's another discussion. Maybe Domantas Sabonis gets it. But like, he has equity of one of the best scorers in league history, full stop. And Doug Christie is in the awkward position of saying, man, would it be better if we go a defensive route and have Jake LaRavia playing wing defense and rebounding and doing all the hustle things that maybe DeMar DeRozan doesn't do necessarily? Does that open more shots for Keegan Murray? And we saw what that looked like a little bit last night, albeit in the 1-game sample. Would the Kings be better off being more of a versatile two-way team if DeMar DeRozan's on the bench? You're moving the ball more, you're playing better defense, you're maybe opening up better looks for Zach LaVine. Is that a way to go? Or if you're Doug Christie, do you say, man, ownership loves DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan is the most accomplished guy in the room. How can I justify benching him while also trying to endear myself to ownership in order to keep the job next year? I think that's a really difficult place to be. And I think that's the calculus that's going through Doug Christie's mind. And I think the difficulty of that decision is manifesting itself on the court in the sense that the Kings are losing games. And that's not to say DeMar DeRozan, I'm not trying to criticize DeMar DeRozan and not say he hasn't been great, and particularly at scoring in the fourth quarter. But DeMar DeRozan, I think, is best utilized when you have athleticism and defense and rim protection around him. And really, when you look at this Kings roster, all of their best and most important players have the same deficiencies. And that's they're not great passers, aside from Sabonis. They don't really have a lot of connectors. They don't have a lot of defense. They don't have a lot of rim protection, or really any rim protection outside of Jonas Valanciunas. And so that's how you end up in this spot. Yeah, talking to Chris Biederman of the Sacramento Bee. Chris, last one before we get you out of here and get you ready for your big day. Who at this point at 12-11 on March 26th, to Chris Biederman, if you were the GM, who is untouchable to you on this Kings roster? Man, I don't know if anybody's untouchable. Yeah. I honestly don't. Like, if you look at what the conversation was last summer, it was, Keegan Murray's untouchable for Lauri Markkanen, and then this season happens. Do you feel the same way about Keegan Murray? And like, I understand it probably hasn't been ideal circumstances for Keegan, given you add DeMar DeRozan. He's not, the offense isn't anything like it was during Keegan's rookie year. But like, if Keegan Murray is in the way of you, getting a potential upgrade or a potential all-star caliber player, I think you have to seriously think about it. And from the other side is like, if you're Keegan Murray, are you dying to sign a long-term extension with the Kings and tie your future to this organization that's been one of the most stable or unstable in the entire NBA over the last decade plus, right? Like, so, if you're Keegan Murray, you might welcome a change of scenery. And from that standpoint, if you're the Kings, you're like, all right, well, if Keegan doesn't want to be here long term, then he can't be untouchable, right? Yeah. So they've put themselves in a really difficult spot. And man, like, if not for the Dallas Mavericks trading Luka Doncic, I think the Kings would be looking at like the Mavericks have saved the Kings from being really the worst situation in the NBA over the last few months, because the Kings looked like a couple years ago with Beam Team 1 like an ascending team, a team that was finally going to have stability, and now they seem as dysfunctional as they've ever been, and they're going to go through another offseason of massive change potentially, and that ultimately just seems to be a revolving door of instability, and then it manifests itself in not making the playoffs. Chris Biederman, thank you so much for joining us of the Sacramento Bee. Probably the next time I'll talk to you, you might be on the other side with me, brother. Well, I'll welcome you early. Chris, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon. No problem. Hit me up for the info on the after party. I will. Sounds good, man. All right, Alan. See ya. On the other side, we give you updated chances for the Kings to keep their draft pick as it keeps going up, as the Kings continue to lose. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, Folsom Lake Ford. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, like America's best-selling F-Series, Check out a huge selection of Mavericks, F-150s, and Super Duty trucks, or tech-filled SUVs like Explorers and Expeditions, plus a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports, all in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with 0 down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest finance rates. And Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they are my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. For 35 years and counting, come down and take a test drive today. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/SactownSports1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Great stuff from Chris Biederman. So I was going like this, just vibing out. And I don't think I told all the listeners. Maybe I did. My old age, I can't remember anymore. But on Saturday, we hit the San Diego beach. And, just some all-American fun here. Took my glove. One of my buddies actually brought a vortex. Now, Kyle, I don't know if you know what a vortex is.
Explain it to me. Just, I know, but just so the audience knows.
A vortex, for all of you Gen Zers out there, a vortex is a very miniature-sized football, but then on the back of one of the ends of the football, there is about a 6 to 7 inch tail on it, right? So it's super light and you can just chuck that bad boy. Then they came out with the vortex that had the whistles on it. Okay, so when you throw it, it makes a whistling sound. And that's what we grew up with, chucking the vortex everywhere. So I brought my glove. My buddy brought the vortex, and I'm out there living out my left-handed catcher dreams. I'm out there living my left-handed second baseman dreams, where we had a vortex throwing competition where I came in second, okay, out of about 6 of us, whatever it is. We are at Wednesday. That was on Saturday. My arm is still killing me.
Still down
For the count.
Oh,
it is down.
See, I was wondering what you were doing. Obviously, the Sac Chat couldn't see it, but I was wondering because you were doing like who's the quarterback who does the arm?
Yeah, I mean wasn't even trying to do that, but I'm just loosening up it is killing me.
Oh, I was like, man, he really is loving Dua Lipa for some reason. But
well,
no,
I was,
just
and then it reminded me, I'm washed. My arm, my labrum, it's all sore.
After 2 hours of throwing a vortex and playing baseball.
That's it.
It's just 5 days you're on the mend.
I threw out so many hypothetical runners and turned so many hypothetical double plays. It was worth it.
So you guys just didn't have enough bodies, so you had like ghost runners and things like that?
We weren't hitting. It was a real baseball. So we were just chucking the baseball on the beach for hours.
Man, that sounds like a great time. Totally worth it.
It was a great time, and it was worth it.
Even though your arm is a puddle 5 days later.
Yeah, I'm still feeling it. Once again, thanks to Chris Biederman, who joined us. Chris always gives a lot of great insight. And the thing about what Chris said, and again, why it might seem like we're looking back in time, it's because it is so connected to what the future holds for the Sacramento Kings. I think Chris hit the nail on the head when, yesterday I posted about Keegan and Keon, and we can spend time talking about Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan and Domantas Sabonis, but those two guys and some of the options that they have, and Amid Rock on the Sac Chat also brought it up. It takes two to tango, right, with these extensions. And who's to say? Keegan kind of feeling himself a little bit, talking about how he had to hunt for shots. Who's Uncle Keeg? Who's his nephew? Right? This baby Rain. So you're telling me that De'Aaron and Keegan aren't still maybe chit-chatting about what's going on. De'Aaron don't have nothing better to do. He's not playing.
Well, they had dinner after the game.
Yeah.
Like, they're still really good friends.
You telling me there's no, dude. You can do what you want, but I would get out. Don't get stuck there, dude. Don't get stuck there. You're telling me that that's not maybe just being said in passing?
Well, it's not apples to apples. There's different situations there because the first contract in the NBA is kind of the you got to get your bag contract, not just because of restricted free agency, but because of youth, etc.
Right.
Like, it's kind of the, hey, man, you just kind of got to get your bag.
Yeah.
And hopefully the Kings give Keegan that $20 to $25 million a year offer that we expect they will, because anything lower than that, like we've ran through the numbers before. Like, you're treating him like Denny Advia if you offer him anything less than that.
And I like Denny, but I like Keegan more.
Yeah,
I do.
We all know Keegan's a better. Again, Keegan's by volume shooting 40% since the new year. So, yeah, I understand the sentiment. It's just, when push comes to shove, $100 million on the table, you get to be a number 3 scoring option going forward.
Yeah, it's really tough to say no to that. Also, the piece on, and if you missed the Chris Biederman segment, it'll be up on YouTube pretty soon, if not already, and on the Sacktown Sports app.
And our podcast.
And our podcast, where you can get wherever you find good fine podcasts, and you can rewind on YouTube as well. The other note that I thought stuck out to me was Chris's thoughts on the starting lineup and how Doug is just kind of in survival mode. But what does that mean? And Chris Biederman also bringing up, it is a known thing and that's what I've been saying. DeMar DeRozan has to want out, and I think he will because he wants to compete. But it is pretty well known when you're doing videos, Nothing Like Us, that the ownership likes having DeMar DeRozan around. He's got his book. He's in music videos. This is a star, right, that kind of supersedes what we've seen from the De'Aaron Foxes of the world, who are kind of more chill. De'Aaron, this is kind of his breakout year with the shoe deal and things like that, but not the same. He's not going to be in a music video. He's not really doing all that. So I do think that they like that. And I've been telling people that they really like that part of it.
Well, and also has been nothing but professional during everything that's happened this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he went on that FanDuel show that one time and had the comment about De'Aaron Fox, but other than that, been super professional through a really messy season, maybe the messiest of his entire career.
Yeah. So I definitely hear what Chris is saying there. And then you look at, we didn't get into specifics as far as Keon, or Chris didn't even bring up Malik. It was more about DeMar DeRozan and, the Jake LaRavias of the world maybe sliding in there. I mean, yeah, you talk about, and that's what we talked about, sitting DeMar DeRozan or, bringing him off the bench for Jake LaRavia. That's just a tough sell. Keon for Malik is a much easier sell. I think that both of those things probably make the team make more sense. Again, it's not a matter of DeMar DeRozan not being a good player. I would even throw Levine in there. The whole situation has been the combination of all three of them has not worked.
Yeah, and I think they will probably move on from one of them this offseason. I don't know which one, but also the bigger thing is we don't know who's going to be making those decisions, which was part of what Chris talked about with survival mode. It seems like everyone is in survival mode at this point. Wes Wilcox leaving yesterday cannot bode well for Monty McNair's chances.
Yeah.
I just looking at the landscape and the 4-game losing streak and the losing 8 of 10 and the injuries and the Fox trade, like it can't bode well for Monty. The fact that his lead assistant for the last 5 years just jumped ship for a perceived step down.
But that still looks bad on those that employ Monty. Like if they fired Nico Harrison after making this trade, that would make the Mavs look crazy, because why did you let a guy make this trade and then fire him? This is the whole clean up your own mess thing. So to a lesser degree, because De'Aaron's not Luka, but you let the front office trade De'Aaron, and after they made a monumental decision, you're going to bring in somebody else to clean it up? That makes you look worse, right?
Yeah. Well, it makes you look bad, but the counterpoint is it can get worse, right?
I guess.
You let it, saying you clean up your mess could lead to more short-sighted decisions in order to try and clean up the mess. And again, have you ever been in a conversation where you've kind of said the wrong thing and then you kind of try and talk yourself out of it and you dig yourself into a bigger hole? You can always dig yourself into a bigger hole. This could absolutely get worse.
Updated chances for the Kings to keep a draft pick. Something improved, but you'll have to wait till the other side to find out what. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Thursday night, Kings and Trailblazers. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
And now a brief history of the garage door. Garage doors could date back to 450 BC when chariots were stored in gatehouses. Here in the States, they became a thing around the start of the 20th century. You could find a float-over door in a catalog way back in 1906. National Garage Doors have been around since 1974. They're family-owned and operated, so you can trust them to solve any garage door issues you may have. Squeaky door, malfunctioning door, or a need for a new door, which is what prompted us to give them a call, 916-638-4554. At National Garage Door Service is their number one priority. I've witnessed that commitment in my own home, certainly in our garage. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer-branded garage doors. They are the nation's BSE broken spring experts. So if you have a garage door that looks and sounds like it dates back to 450 BC, National Garage Door can help, whether it's a garage door tune-up, repair, or replacement you need. They'll take care of you at National Garage Door, 916-638-4554. That's 916-638-4554. National Garage Door.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
If you've been looking for an SUV that combines luxury, comfort, and off-road capability, look no further than the most awarded SUV ever, the Jeep Grand Cherokee at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. With 470 foot-pounds of torque, a 6,000-pound towing capacity, great gas mileage, the 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is the perfect SUV for all your needs. See for yourself why people are coming from all over to Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Centrally located across from Hagan Oaks Golf Course, it's the place where a handshake still means something.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Paul Mitchell, The School, Sacramento, and Stoney's Rockin' Rodeo. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
2025 Rivercats baseball is finally here. Kick off the year with exciting baseball, brand new giveaways, and all the fun of Sutter Health Park. Whether you're with friends or family, don't miss a moment of Rivercats action. Get your tickets for the first games of the season at rivercats.com.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet, Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. Chad, it's Ram Truck Month. The sales event's going on right now, and I know that means heavy discounts.
It's not just a discount. It's big discounts on hard-to-find Ram heavy duties. Right now, save up to $16,000 off MSRP on remaining new 2024 Ram 2500 and 3500 heavy duties. When you need a hard-to-find truck, Hoblet has it, with over 500 new Rams available.
Just one of the many reasons Hoblet always ranks as one of the biggest and best Ram dealers in all of America.
And we are proud of that. But we don't just sell Rams. You have to check out the Hoblet Certified Pre-Owned Supercenter with 200 vehicles available and 30 under $20,000.
Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
$16,000 total net savings after $71.29 factory rebates and $88.71 dealer discounts. Rebates include $500 first responder bonus cash for eligible first responders and $66.29 West BC standalone 10% below MSRP. 5 vehicles at this net savings. Sample VIN 316786. Not everyone will qualify for all rebates. See dealer for details.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Febreze. It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now, all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sacktown Sports.
From Folsom Mike, why is our default to move our best scorer? I believe he's talking about DeMar DeRozan. Seems like a dude you need in a big playoff series. I think that ship has sailed, and it's not necessarily about, I don't know that it's more about the Kings wanting to move on or DeMar DeRozan wanting to move on. I'm not sure, so it's not necessarily that everyone says get DeRozan out of town. The whole situation has been that DeMar wanted to come here in the last couple seasons of his career and play some meaningful basketball, which he has not done in kind of a long time. And I don't know if he feels like he will play that meaningful basketball at the age of 36 here in Sacramento next season. He's probably got, the way he plays, he probably has 2 years left, maybe 3. Does he want to spend that time in Sacramento? Obviously, he has to find someone who's willing to pay the $23, $24 million for him to probably come off the bench because you're a contender. And, you probably have a good starting five, or a starting five that it would be hard for DeMar to crack. So that's really what it is. The bottom line is, and we can even have the conversation about the 3 starters, right? Let's just play the game. They run it back just for fun. And you say, hey, Malik, it just is not working with you in the starting lineup. Nobody, DeMar couldn't find a partner. Doesn't really mind staying. Zach LaVine, he's not going anywhere. Domantas Sabonis just wanted to confirm that Doug Christie is going to be the head coach. So, Malik, we just don't have a choice. We're paying Zach at that point now $47 million. And DeMar DeRozan is a future Hall of Famer. This is just the easiest path. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Malik, you're going to come off the bench. I think the issue there is how much better are they, right? So if they had made that move and we got to see it, then maybe you could mess around with running it back. But I don't think it's worth it for DeMar DeRozan to think, all right, because this former two-way undrafted guard in Keon Ellis, who is now a legit player in the NBA. Don't get me wrong, but Keon Ellis switching is going to get us to the level of competitive basketball that I wanted to play in the twilight of my career. And the other thing is too, I just don't know. They both had that all-star season and played pretty well that first year when they were both healthy. I don't really know how much Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan work well together. Maybe it would look better with Domantas Sabonis, but from the front office and ownership side of things, have they seen enough to give this another go? From the players and DeMar DeRozan side of things, has he seen enough to give it another go? The Zach LaVine thing, I just don't think they're going to find anybody to move off of him. And I would probably still, if you're making me choose between moving off of DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, as much as I don't love the Zach LaVine contract, I'm moving off of DeMar DeRozan. He's 36.
Yeah, contracts being equal, I might have a different conversation, because I think the thing that helps the Kings is that DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine make a combined $70 million in 2024 when the salary cap has gone up versus the two of them making a combined $90 million when the salary cap was lower.
Yeah.
I think that gives them more room to add, for example, an all-NBA center into the mix on a max contract. If you even were playing the game of, say, they run it back with that core 6, or call it 7 with Valanciunas, do those people just expect that they won't make any additions this offseason? Right? They're going to bring it. They have $30 million in cap space and 3 open roster spots, potentially with no draft pick.
Sure.
They're going to add something to the mix that is going to shake up the dynamic of this group, even if you theoretically bring everyone back. So even these hypotheticals we're running might not be as easy to calculate when you're talking about they might bring in a Chris Paul. They might bring in a $20 million point guard, or, I made the joke about Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
If maybe he's coming off the bench for this team, and then, they get into training camp and they figure it, like, so many different situations could come true.
Well, and timing matters too, right? When they have their exit interviews, is DeMar willing to hear the moves that are made, or is his mind already made up? If this thing continues to go south, is DeMar's mind already made up as far as what's going to happen next? As far as this season, and this could maybe help if you're in the camp of keeping DeMar, the good news that we wanted to share, that the playoff odds actually went up last night thanks to Dallas losing to the New York Knicks. So they're at 19.8%, 39.6% to, or this is to make the playoffs, right? So 19.8% to make the playoffs, which would give them no chance of keeping their pick. So that was lower going into last night's events. 39.6 if they missing as a lower seed, which keeps their pick chances at 2.4%, 28.7% chance to miss the playoffs as a higher seed, which would give them a 4.8% chance and an 11.9% chance to completely miss the play-in, which would give them a 98 or 92.8% chance to keep their pick.
Except for that one weird hypothetical we talked about yesterday where Atlanta finishes with a better record than the Kings, but then loses 2 games in the play-in at home and doesn't make the playoffs.
916-339-1140. Let's get to the phone lines. And JP wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, JP? What you got for us?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good, man. Beautiful day out, just enjoying it. Just wanted to chime in on what are you guys talking about there, man, in the off season, what we want to do with DeRozan and LaVine. I think the only one way I would want the Kings to run it back is we got to get the perfect point guard, IQ wise. That might have been, I know you guys have been mentioning Chris Paul. I think that was the missing link. And I think us making a huge playoff run, even this season, because I feel like he would have just had, the guys in position where we're struggling with, only Monk being in and out of the lineup and then a rookie at point guard as a backup. So I think it's either the perfect point guard or I think it's time that we kind of, shift things towards getting our team ready for maybe the next 5 years where, we trade some of our big names and get picks so we could not tank, but we can go towards, the fountain of youth and get some younger guys in here,
Yeah. Thanks for the call, JP. And it's funny because if the Kings had gotten Chris Paul back, and I can't remember who said it, it might have been Whitey, but a couple people brought up that if they had gotten Chris Paul back, people like me probably would have said, what are we doing? Because we didn't know what it looked like. But now seeing what it looked like, I think that would have made a lot of sense. It would have made a lot of sense, just to see, okay, this is something that can work, right? It still wouldn't be great because Chris Paul is also terrible on defense, but it's something that maybe could work. I'm just looking here. Can I interest you in some of these 2025 free agent point guards? There's a name, and I'm going to tell you the name on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Thursday night, Kings and Trailblazers. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip-off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Spring is in the air, and there's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. Whether you're shopping for new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. And while life's roads are often filled with bumps, buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
With NBA League Pass, keeping up with the league is as easy as NBA. Watch from multiple angles and in your preferred language. Wait, really? Oh, new guy, huh? Yeah, you get so many live games, recaps, and highlights. So the court is my oyster. It's your Pelican, Wolf, Bull, Nugget, Big Blue Dog, whatever you want it to be. NBA League Pass, your home for streaming hoops. Only select out-of-market games available and local blackout restrictions apply. Additional charges and other conditions may apply. Visit NBA.com/subscriber agreement for full terms and conditions.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khdk.com.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER. Spring is here, and that means gigantic savings for all your oil change needs at Jiffy Lube today. Get a $25 gift card with the purchase of any Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change through May 31st at your local Jiffy Lube service center in the greater Sacramento areas. And don't forget about the additional $30 off online coupon at jiffylube.com. Terms apply. Valid email address required. See pennzoil.com/rewards for details. Jiffy Lube, a huge spring savings for you today.
Get ready, NorCal. The Lodi Beer Fest and State Barbecue Championship is on Saturday, April 26th at the Lodi Grape Festival grounds. There will be something for everyone. Craft beers from over 50 breweries, live music, outrageous food, games, plus taste barbecue from world-class barbecue teams. For tickets and more information, go to grapefestival.com. Must be 21 years of age or older to attend. The Lodi Beer Fest, where great brews meet legendary cues. Saturday, April 26th in Lodi.
Tom's Watch Bar has the best happy hour in Sacramento, starting with $5 specials all day, every day. Plus select $7 appetizers and $12 entrees with 360-degree viewing and game day vibes that match being at the game. Tom's Watch Bar is the ultimate game day experience for sports fans.
for Kings Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
The name. Let me give you a hint. This is going to be very Carmichael Dave of me. The name is coming off injury. Mac McClung. I have a whole list of the 2025 free agents. I didn't make you wait too long for the tease. There's not much of a tease, okay?
What do you mean? That's a 3-time champion.
Right. That's right.
How many champions do we have on the Kings?
What if there was a Major League Baseball player that just was the ultimate BP hitter and kept winning the home run derby, but was just actually in AAA?
See, I don't feel like that would work though, because like hitting the home run derby actually is a skill that is like translatable to baseball versus dunking over a car has literally nothing to do with basketball.
I think that you could find a AA, AAA player that could win amongst a group of MLB players.
Sure.
I think.
But that player probably would be the Joey Gallo of minor league baseball.
Who's a pitcher now? Joey Gallo is a pitcher now.
Like in Mexico or something?
He's trying to come back as a pitcher.
Like in the major leagues?
Somewhere.
Or in the Korean
Apparently,
baseball organization.
He throws hard somewhere. Okay, so can I interest you in a Jalen Hood Schifino? Bones Highland?
I would say yes, but I mean that's like a Markel Fultz.
I think him and Malik just wouldn't work. Ty Washington Jr., J.D. Davidson. Let's see here. Yep. Reese Beekman.
We gotta shoot for more than this.
Colin Gillespie.
That's the brother of
Connor?
Connor and Cole were both at Villanova, I think.
Connor Gillespie's a baseball player.
Oh.
I think. Markel Fultz, of course. Ben Simmons. Jared Butler. Jordan McLaughlin. And now we're getting hotter, people, as the prices move up here. Delano Banton.
Oh, that would be. Do you remember his legendary game where?
Yes.
The last game of last season for Portland at Golden One Center, he went 0 for 15 from the 3-point line.
This is getting legit here. Okay, this is starting to get legit. I hope everyone is ready. Okay, so as we move towards, these guys are making more money. The $2 million, the $3 million. You have Cam Payne. Cam Payne. You have DeLon Wright. Dante Exum. Okay. Just double checking here. Spencer Dinwiddie.
Sure.
No.
Doesn't he drop like 28 points every time he comes to Golden One Center?
That's true.
Plus, he could finally get out of the only situation in the NBA worse than the Kings.
Who else is there? Patty Mills is still on this list. Is crazy.
What, isn't he in the league?
Yes, he's on. Who he play for? Do you know?
Oh God. Okay, he got traded to. He was in that Clippers deal, but I don't know if he's still on the Clippers. Is he on the Clippers?
Patty Mills plays for the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yes, he was on Utah earlier this year. I know that.
A 39-year-old Kyle Lowry. Mm-hmm. This guy, another resurgence. Russell Westbrook.
I mean, I would say yes, but I think he says no.
Corey Joseph, the return.
Sacramento says no.
Trey Mann. Aaron Holiday. You get a Holiday?
What are we doing here? The worst man, the worst Holiday?
These guys are making more. I mean, Tyus Jones is already the one for me. I think he's going to have a lot of people interested. Davion Mitchell? No.
I
would too, but that's weird, isn't it?
No.
It is.
We love Davion.
Javon Carter.
The man who was balding at 19 years old.
So Trey Jones is making more than his brother. He's at $9.5 million. Trey Jones, I'm in. Give me one of the Joneses.
We could have had him.
Yeah, I know, but now we have him again. GP2 being listed as a point guard is insanity.
I want GP2 on the Kings, but not as a point guard.
No one. He's not a point guard.
He's a small forward.
He's just 6'2", so they don't know what to say. Dennis Schroeder, 12.7. Okay. D'Angelo Russell, $18 million.
Brooklyn's going to cash him out. I don't think he's ever going to hit free agency.
Malcolm Brogdon, 22.5.
Well, not at that price. He's a free agent at the end of the season.
Well, this is just their previous.
I mean, Malcolm Brogdon at $8 million, but Malcolm Brogdon at $15 million.
If Kyrie wants out, Kyrie, give me Kyrie. Fred VanVleet, no.
He would be so perfect with this weird team.
He doesn't play.
But he would be so perfect on this weird team.
Yeah, he does not play. So that's a problem for me. Okay, that was a fun exercise as the Sacramento Kings are going to be looking for a point guard and I guess another wing, right? If we continue, and obviously we're going to do this all summer long, so I don't want to do it too often. But just real quick for some of the power forwards, I mean, there's a Julius Randle, John Collins. So John Collins, after you didn't trade for him, can still get him.
Well, it's a player option. I think he's got like $25 million on the player option.
Dorian Finney-Smith, Bobby Portis. He will be, again, player option that we think he'll be declining. Chris Boucher, Larry Nance Jr., Trey Lyles.
I would love to bring Trey Lyles back, and it'll probably be at less. What is he at right now? Like $8 million? It'll probably be less than that.
Yeah, he's at $8 million. Jonathan Kuminga, who's going to want someone to pay for him. Jake LaRavia, but we know what's going on there. Dario Saric, Precious Achua. All right, I think we get the picture. It's going to be rough sledding for the Kings, but they will have options. It just depends on what exactly they're looking for.
Real quick before we go off of this, I just thought of a dastardly situation. So you know how the Kings kind of need a point guard now, which is ironic after all of the point guards they've drafted.
Yes.
So are the people who think that tanking to protect the draft pick at 11 or 12, would those people still feel that way if I told you they're going to draft a point guard? Like, it doesn't matter who, just that they're going to draft a point guard.
But that's if Monty's still there. If Monty's not there, then the height requirements might change.
Their biggest need is a point guard.
They wouldn't draft a point guard.
Let's just say that it doesn't matter who they take. Maybe that point guard ends up being Jared McCain or the next Jared McCain. Just if I told you they're going to draft another point guard, but you keep the pick, would those people then feel less like they want to keep the pick?
I think they'd still want the pick because the draft is hope. And right now, there's not a ton of hope going around. And as soon as you say that 916 point guard, big joke. How many drafts have the Kings not selected a small forward, which they needed? Well, the needs have changed.
That's what's so funny about this Sisyphus situation we're in right now, is that all of a sudden they actually do need a point guard. Like, after all the point guards they've drafted, they actually do need a point guard.
Yeah, so it's tough out here right now. Speaking of the picks, what happened the last time a team tried to tank to protect a draft pick? The 2023 Dallas Mavericks had a top 10 protected draft pick that they owed to the New York Knicks as part of the Kristaps Porzingis trade. During the final week of the season, they chose to sit starters, including Kyrie, Maxi Kleber, Josh Green, and Christian Wood, with Luka benched after the first quarter of their last game versus Chicago Bulls. What ended up happening? They ended up losing enough to stay in the 11th seed. The NBA fined Mark Cuban and the organization $750K. They held on to the number 10 pick in the NBA draft lottery, got to keep their pick, drafted Derek Lively with the number 10 pick in the NBA draft 2023, traded back into the first round, making a deal with Sacramento for Rashawn Holmes, plus the number 24 pick that became Olivier Maxence Prosper. So I think the best story there, obviously, is Derek Lively.
Right, but what they had to do to get Derek Lively, who is a fine NBA player, right?
Yeah.
He was a backup center on a team that went to the finals and is still a backup center on the 10 seed. Like, what they had to give up to get Derek Lively, an adequate NBA player, is a $750,000 fine, reputational damage, and literally tanking away games intentionally the back half of the season, which in my mind, the juice wasn't necessarily worth the squeeze, but then again, maybe Derek Lively could have been the next Franz Wagner, and maybe it's worth more if you get the next Franz Wagner instead of the next Derek Lively.
Lit and Fuel giveaway coming up next. They went quick yesterday. Let's see how quick they go today. That's at 1 p.m., so switch on over if you are on the Sacktown Sports app. And a little bit of a Major League Baseball preview as the season starts tomorrow. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Thursday night, Kings and Trailblazers. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip-off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet?
RV wins!
Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping?
RV wins!
Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach?
RV wins!
You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
JCPenney makes spring fashion look so easy. Throw on something light, bright, and extra comfy. Mix and match new arrivals from your fave brands and create affordable outfits with ease, like the perfect St. John's Bay polo paired with chinos, or a simple sweater and denim combo from A&A. Get that Liz Claiborne handbag you love, plus those cute sandals to match. For warmer nights, pick out cool, lightweight sleep sets from Umbriel. Come shop, bring the fam, and start chasing those spring vibes now. JCPenney, make it count.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. New Hondas are piling up, and that means big savings for you.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
The word "for" has been used in golf for centuries, and its origins can be traced to the Middle Ages. According to historians, the word "for" is derived from the Old English word meaning before or in front of. In those days, the term was used to warn people of incoming arrows during archery practice. Another theory suggests that "for" has military connections. During the 19th century, artillery officers would yell "for" to warn their troops of incoming shells. This practice may have carried over to golf. The most popular theory, however, is that "for" has Scottish roots. In Scotland, "for-caddy" was used to describe a person who walked ahead of the golfers to spot where their ball landed. The for-caddy would then yell "for" to warn the golfers if their ball was heading towards another golfer or a spectator. Today, "for" is used to warn golfers or spectators of an errant shot. Whether it's derived from the Middle Ages, military practice, or Scottish roots, "for" has become an integral part of the game of golf, and now you know why. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
It is time. We have 1 minute here. I'm going to count it down just to give everyone time because these went so fast. I'm looking here. We have the beautiful clock with the timers. We have 30 seconds until we do this giveaway.
But don't do it yet.
I'm not doing it.
No, I'm talking about people calling.
Don't call.
Don't call.
I'll tell you when. Real quick, while we kill some time here in the 20 seconds. 916 says, and if the draft is hope, then why can we not talk about full blow-up and tanking for draft picks? 916, we're going to talk about it all off-season. We still have to talk about the season, all right? Of course we can talk about it. 4 question marks at the end. In 3, 2, 1. The rock bands Lit and Fuel are bringing their Ignited We Stand tour to Hard Rock Live, Sacramento this Friday, March 28th, and we want to send you to the show. We're looking for caller number
1.
Caller number 1. Got to be quick. Go, go, go. 916-339-1140. 916-339-1140. 916-339-1140. We're looking for caller number 1 right now to win a pair of tickets to see Lit and Fuel. And we have someone who came in already. Oh, my goodness.
Did they beat the horn, though? We're going to find out.
Quick on the trigger. Good for all the callers coming in. Kyle is finding that first caller to see Lit and Fuel bringing their Ignited We Stand tour to Hard Rock Live together this Friday, March 28th. All right. Oh, my goodness. So many calls. You have, 2 more chances to get your tickets. Caller number 1, I mean, it's very classic, but it is tough. It's tough. It's really tough. We won't do one the rest of the week.
Today's just a number 1 kind of day. Am I right?
I hear you. We won't do that, okay, again, because, I don't know, it's fun to have to time it out, but we got our caller number 1, so, Kyle, you got the caller? You got caller number 1? Okay, Kyle's got caller number 1, and they will enjoy their time March 28th. Lit and Fuel. While Kyle is handling the winner, I wanted to get into a little bit of an MLB preview. I know baseball I'm trying to make it cool again myself, and they're doing a lot of awesome technology type things, but there's still some very simple changes that they could make. I know they're never going to do it. They're never going to make the season shorter. I get all that, but on this show, Kyle was just asking me, hey, how much do you think we'll talk about the A's during the season? And I said, it's interesting. I'm not really sure, because how much time do we spend thinking about the future of a team? When we talk about the A's, everything is going to be so immediate because we don't know about the future, right? If the A's have the season that I think they can have, and they're messing around, knocking on the door for that 3rd wild card, then maybe you'll look ahead and say, hey, yeah, maybe they can make the playoffs in 2 years, but anything past that, anyone that signs a deal, anything like that, we don't, Magic Johnson, I don't know if they going to be here. So it's one of the more unique situations when it comes to fanning over a team, because a big part of fanning, when I reference the 916 and they say, I want to talk draft picks and tanking, that's the future. We don't know the A's draft that's happening in June, right? Now I know the pandemic changed things and players are getting to the big leagues quicker, right? I get all that, but how much time are we going to spend on the top draft pick for the A's? Because that, unless he's a stud muffin, we're probably not going to see him in Sacramento unless he's just an absolute firecracker. So I just share this with you because I want to talk A's, and I'm going to be covering the A's in a very unique way because I'll be in the ballpark for River Cat stuff as well. So I'm going to be really close to the action, but it is interesting to think about covering a team in this situation where you don't know how long they're going to be here, where there is a level of fanning that is, this is part of our city. They're not going anywhere, and this is more of a rental situation. So with all that being said, I'm very excited about the baseball season. let's kick things off with something that doesn't excite me, and that's how good the Los Angeles Dodgers are. Here's their projected record, playoff odds, and World Series odds. We're just going to go through the Dodgers because they're number one, the Giants, and the A's. So this is from Jeff Passan, who does a great job for ESPN covering Major League Baseball. Projected record, 102-60. Okay, they have a 97.7% chance to make the playoffs and a 28% chance to win the World Series, which somehow feels low, but apparently isn't low. You know, what's interesting is, I shouldn't say interesting, but what's a little worrisome is what's going on with Mookie Betts. He lost, 15, 30 pounds since this sickness that he's been dealing with. So Mookie, one of my favorite players, was my favorite player. Then he went to the Dodgers, so things got a little bit confusing for me. But Mookie dealing with what he's dealing with, obviously they go out and add to that pitching depth. You know what they have as far as their lineup. Obviously Shohei making his way back on the bump. So it's not really surprising that the Dodgers sit at number one, and I hope they lose and their fans cry for all the Smurfs out there. Okay, coming in at number 22, the San Francisco Giants. Okay, the San Francisco Giants are sitting, and it's funny enough, this is actually hilarious. So number 22 on this list, as far as the initial power rankings, the San Francisco Giants, projected record 80-82, a 24.6% chance to make the playoffs, and a 0.6% chance to win the World Series. All right. So that is very interesting. All right. Some of what Passan has to say. Dismissing a president of baseball operations is one thing. It's a near annual occurrence in baseball, but Giants ownership decision to move from Farhan Zaidi to Buster Posey represents a deeper shift. Zaidi, who never played baseball at a high level, relied on analytics for his team building. Posey, one of the greatest players in franchise history, is taking a more old school approach, which I do love. And he goes on to write, the Giants haven't reached the postseason since they're out of left field. It really was so fluky. 107 win season in 2021. Posey wasn't that team's catcher. He retired, or was that team's catcher. He retired weeks later. He has a little couple of things broken out here. One realistic, bold prediction. Bryce Eldridge, who will spend the entire season at just 20 years old and has only 40 plate appearances above single A, will begin the season in the minors, but the towering 6'7" lefty slugger will be up soon enough and lead the team in home runs. I will say this, and I do have a source on this, why he doesn't help out more, I don't know, but I had this information, I think, early last year, that Will Clark has been personally working with Bryce Eldridge, which I just thought was a really cool note. I don't know if Carmichael Dave knows that, but that might make Bryce Eldridge his future favorite player. I hope to see Bryce Eldridge. I will also say this, a lot of notes about Bryce Eldridge when I was doing my River Cats thing. So there is a lot. And I know sometimes the Marco Lucianos of the world, it doesn't work out, these top prospects, but Bryce Eldridge is supposed to be the real deal. Let me tell you that right now.
I mean, the ones that are the top 15s, though, they almost always work out, though. Like, when you're this close to the majors and they're projecting...
At 20 years old.
Yeah, exactly. And he's what? I forgot the number. Isn't he like 24 or something on the MLB Top 100?
The other thing, too, is you don't even play a premium position. So that means you must hit the crap out of the ball to make it that quickly as a first baseman.
Once you get this close to the majors, I mean, maybe he won't be a Vlad Jr. or he won't be the next, I don't know, Fernando Tatis or something. But when you get this close and you're that good of a player, like he should be something for the Giants.
Just be better than Brandon Belt. Let's start there. How can they contend? And this is a combo of different MLB writers, not just Jeff Passan. So Schoenfield, he wrote the bold prediction, and Gonzalez here wrote the how they can contend. The Giants' offense should improve with Jung-Hoo Lee coming back from a labrum tear and Willie Adames taking over as shortstop. But their starting rotation accumulated the fewest innings in the National League last season, even though they employed the league leader, Logan Webb, local guy. And I'm still trying to get him on the show. I'm still working on it. And only a 42-year-old Verlander was added to the mix. Why did I think he was 40? So he's 42. Okay. Their young starters, a group that consists of Kyle Harrison, De La Salle, shout out, Carson Wisenhunt, Hayden Birdsong, and Joe Whitman, need to take steps forward. That doesn't sound great, but that's why they're number 22. And Kyle, you want to take a wild guess at who's number 23?
Would that be the Sacramento Athletics of Las Vegas of Anaheim?
That is correct. Okay. The Giants with a 24% chance to make the playoffs. The Athletics with an 8.4% chance to make the playoffs. They're projected at 74 and 88. They have a 0.1 chance to win the World Series. Somebody go to Reno right now. Just go to Reno right now. Who cares? That would be incredible. Okay. Here's the beginning of the breakdown. The thing we'll be talking about the most this season, in parentheses, the West Sacramento Athletics situation off the field is unfortunate, but their future is bright on the field, no matter what they say publicly. Playing out of a minor league stadium with the clubhouse behind the left field wall for the next 3 seasons is an inconvenience. The good news is the team should continue improving and could exceed, who called it, could exceed expectations this season. The Athletics, in very unathletics fashion, spent significant money, just pokes in every other sentence here.
Significant also.
Yes.
Let's be real here.
Right, relatively speaking.
Significant money.
Over the winter, giving Luis Severino the richest contract in franchise history, signing closer Jose Leclerc and infielder Luis Urias, and agreeing to a contract extensions. This is where it gets great for me. Brent Rooker, which happened in Golden One Center. Lawrence Butler, my favorite player on the A's. They also acquired left-hander Jeffrey Springs, who I got to watch some of him, and third baseman Gio Urshela, the former New York Yankee, who is very sure-handed at third base, and I just added that in, getting back to what was written, to bolster a team that had the 4th best record in the AL after July 1st last season. Let's not forget how hot they got. They got red hot, and it's going to be hotter in Sacramento, so that bodes well. More of that, and the A's can find themselves in a playoff race. Here is the one realistic bold prediction from Schoenfield again. How much will Brent Rooker, enjoy hitting in Sacramento? Very much, thank you. He belts 53 home runs, edging out Aaron Judge for the AL title. That is the bold but realistic prediction.
I love that.
From ESPN. Last but not least, how can they take a leap forward this season? The A's have assembled a young position player core they hope to take to Las Vegas with them, assuming ballpark construction goes as planned. It consists of Butler, Shea Langeliers, Tyler Soderstrom, Zach Geloff, Wilson, and I saw Zach Geloff was injured as well, Wilson, and Nick Kurtz, who's still a year or two away. Their continued development is crucial. No mention there of Jacob Wilson, who he hit 3 home runs in 2 days, something like that. No mention there of Lawrence Butler either. They're talking about kind of the younger guys. So if some of these younger guys take some leaps, it's going to be real hot in West Sacramento. And I'm not just talking about the weather. When we return, we are creating a path to get the Kings out of the situation that they are currently in. How do we get there? Let's do it together. How would you do it? Kyle and I will break down how we do it when we return. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Thursday night, Kings and Trailblazers. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
T-Mobile home internet is all about speed, value.
What you doing, Zach?
I'm rehearsing. There are so many benefits. You got to talk fast.
T-Mobile home internet ranks #1 in customer satisfaction for home wireless internet by J.D. Power.
Wow, you are good.
Try singing it. T-Mobile has price lock.
They won't raise your rate on internet.
Hulu and Paramount Plus on them.
Get T-Mobile home internet all in for just $55 a month with auto pay and any postpaid voice line. Additional terms apply for JD Power 2024 award information. Visit jdpower.com/awards.
Spring has sprung, and so have the deals at Kohl's Spring Savings Event. I just got a comfy tee for just $7.99, a cute swimsuit for $19.99, 40% off patio furniture for my backyard, and so much more. So don't wait. These deals are too good to miss. Hurry over to Kohl's to save big on warm weather essentials during their Spring Savings Event today. Select styles. Offers end March 30th. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
Before we get into how we would save the Kings and what we would do, Kyle, let's have some fun here before we leave baseball world for now. Over-under game. As we told people to go, I'm not telling you to go to Reno.
Someone should.
Someone should go to Reno. If you were already going to go to Reno, let's have it's a different type of prop talk. Let's start with the Giants. You know, obviously, I keep on finding myself in these confusing situations. Growing up in the Bay Area, it's Warriors, Warriors, Warriors. Now I'm out here covering the Kings. Growing up in the Bay Area, a lot of people know my mom worked in San Francisco. We got a bunch of Giants tickets, Giants fan growing up. And now the A's are in Sacramento. So I got to try to do this with my heart, but also with my mind. And I'm probably going to go pretty fanboy here, Kyle, at 80 and 82.
That's the over-under?
So the over would be 82 wins. Right?
Really?
It's set at, their record is set at 80 and 82. So the number is 80, Kyle. Let's just have some fun and say 80 and a half. That's probably what it is on the books. Are you going over or under? Do you think they don't even have to be 500 in this exercise.
This is for the Giants.
This is for the San Francisco Giants.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What is the Arizona Diamondbacks projection at in this game? Like, are they saying the Diamondbacks are going to be better than the Giants or worse?
I would assume better, but let me double check.
Because I don't think there's going to be 4 above 500 teams in the NL West.
But they would be 81 and 82, though. They wouldn't be 500.
Well, it'd be 81 and 81.
81 and 81, yes.
That would be exactly 500.
Right.
So I'm going to say...
let me, hold on, before I say it. Diamondbacks are set at 87.
87?
87
okay, so then I will go under for the San Francisco Giants.
Kyle. Wow.
I don't think there's going to be 4 above 500 teams in that division. Now, granted, there might be 0 in the NL Central, but okay. I don't think there's going to be 4 above 500 teams.
Okay. Well, I'm smashing the over on the San Francisco Giants. Give me 81 and 81.
So the Sacramento Kings of baseball. Got it.
Yes. All right.
Exactly 500.
Let's do the A's here, Kyle. Set at 74 and a half. The projected record 74 and 88. You taking the over or under 74 and a half?
How many did they win last year?
It sounds similar.
I think it was 69. So yeah. I will say, and they were really bad in May. So I'll say, over only because I think that the Angels are going to be really bad again this year, and the American League West is not the gauntlet it's been in the last, call it 5 years. Although I think everyone's saying Texas is going to be much better this year. So I'll say over, but that's only, to hedge a bet against a 100-loss Angel team.
Okay. Well, I don't love your energy there, but I'll take the over because I know where I'm going with this, and you know where I'm going with this.
I know exactly where you're going with this because you think the Houston Astros are just going to lay down and die.
They are, and I hope they would do that forever. I am going to not only say that the A's are going to go over, 74 wins. The A's are going to get to 80 wins. The A's are going to get to 80 wins.
Yeah. I like your enthusiasm, Does that mean Joey Estes is going to win 10 games as a starter this year?
You got Luis Severino. Okay.
Is Medina going to turn into a star here? Like, what are we doing?
You got Jeffrey Spring. We just talked about it, Kyle, and no mention here of Mason Miller. All right, you got a lead going into the ninth.
I'm not talking about the bullpen.
You got a lead going into the ninth.
Like I'll say this. I don't want to get too in the weeds on it, but the Jeffrey Springs signing is like that's a 32-year-old number 3 starter.
There's nothing wrong with number 2. There's nothing wrong with 32.
When you're a pitcher, it's not great.
Give me 80 wins for your Athletics, formerly of Oakland, in West Sacramento, headed to Las Vegas.
Of Anaheim.
That's where I'm going with this. So if you're on your way, wherever you need to be, you don't even need that. You could just take the over 74.5. I'm just telling you, it's 80.
They play tomorrow. How about that?
Yeah.
They're in Seattle. First game. That's crazy. The first game in Sacramento is 5 days from now.
Mm-hmm.
That just doesn't seem real. We're 5 days away from baseball in Sacramento.
And funny enough, so the Mariners, they kick off their season tomorrow. Okay, that's at 7:10. So we're very excited about that. The A's, Monday, March 31st. That's where their home opener begins. And I mean, that thing is going to be electric. Absolutely electric.
It's going to be crazy. I was thinking, okay, so going back to the summer, I was thinking that Oakland people might come out to protest just for opening day. Right?
Yes, it's very possible.
But I don't think that's going to happen anymore because Oakland appeared to kind of move on at the end once they were pulling the team out, and they had a really emotional goodbye weekend.
Yeah.
But they also put this game on Monday at like 7:00 p.m. Like, I think they knew what they were doing.
You really got to hate the situation and we talked about this before when I was watching, I was watching the Fan Fest in Oakland. They said they think that this is over. What I think will happen is there will be some organized situations where they go out as a group and do what they do. But I don't think it'll happen very often, and I think it'll happen even less in year 2 and year 3 and wherever. And then some of them will probably travel to Vegas.
I hope it happens for the Bay Bridge series, just because I think that would be a great time to gather everyone together in terms of trying. It's going to be weird, the first Bay Bridge series that's, not across the Bay Bridge.
Is it the 80? It's the 80 series.
I guess, but then what is it when it's in Las Vegas? It's
nothing. What is it with the Raiders and Niners now? It's nothing.
No, but you would know better than me. Were the Raiders and Niners really about that? Because there was,
yes.
But what, like in the last 30 years, I'm trying to think, was there ever a time where both teams were good?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
matter.
Like with the Giants and A's, you had them like playing in the World Series and like having matchups. I just feel like the Raiders and Niners never really overlapped.
It doesn't matter. It was to this day, there's still a little bit of venom there. Not much, and it's fading. And the Raiders aren't very good.
So it's like, what is the anti? They've got the serum. It's all being pumped out of you. The venom's all been pumped out at this point.
Yeah, and I don't even know, because there's the division stuff that never leaves, right? And how much of that again? Oh, it's Raiders Chiefs and. Oh, the Chiefs won in our arena, or our stadium, but at the end of the day, in our locker room still smells like champagne. But at the same time, it's you have to be again, and bringing it back to the Kings as we're about to talk about their path out of this mess on the other side. You have to be an organization that scares some people to really keep that tradition going. And the Raiders have actually beat the Chiefs, but it just hasn't really mattered. All right, great stuff here with the A's and Giants. I'm taking the over for both their win totals. You can follow me if you want. You don't, or you can go Kyle with the under on the Giants and over on the A's. On the other side, a path to get out of this mess that the Kings are in. Allen Stiles, Sac Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. For your Wednesday, we're looking at a few more clouds. We'll feel a bit more of that southwest, aka Delta breeze. That'll bring temperatures down to the low to mid 70s for daytime highs, and overnight lows will drop back to the 40s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we've acquired some of the best pre-owned cars we can find. Whether you purchase a new Honda or a like-new pre-owned Honda, Elk Grove Honda has the white Honda at the right price. In the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard, or elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Paul Mitchell, The School, Sacramento, and Stoney's Rockin' Rodeo. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
We're super excited to announce that the new Truck Center is now open at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and it's easy to find from anywhere. They're centrally located right across from the Hagan Oaks Golf Course. At Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, you never have to sacrifice great service to get a good deal. They make sure you're treated the way you deserve to be treated, showing time and time again that Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, it's the place where a handshake still means something. I mean, that's the reason why people are coming from all over town: Elk Grove, Folsom, Woodland, Roseville. Stop on in and experience the difference for yourself.
It's your lucky day. During the month of March, Kids Care Dental and Orthodontics are saving you some green by offering $250 off braces or Invisalign. To schedule a consultation, go to kidscaredental.com. That's kidscaredental.com, where you'll find a location near you.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is, live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Everyone has a past, but what happens if you've made mistakes and made good on that past, but it keeps following you? Are you looking for an attorney to erase past records and restore your rights? Maybe even restore your gun rights? Do you need a reputable criminal defense attorney who knows even good people make bad mistakes? Well, the attorneys at Gonzalez Law Office are here to help. Find Gonzalez Law Office online at saclegaldefense.com or call them at 916-304-9187. We don't settle for less, and neither should you.
You're home for Kings Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Whenever you talk Raiders and Niners, you're going to get some people chiming in. 916 says, with the Raiders and Niners, it just felt like they hated each other's, the fans hated each other rather than it being a real team rivalry. You're probably pretty spot on with that, 916. How much did, if you talk to a Raider player or a Niner player, were they really out in these streets saying, oh man, I can't stand the Raiders? You might be on to something.
Well, because they never played.
Yeah, like you might be on to something.
They played a preseason game every year.
But that's still a version. They're different versions of rivalries to me. You know, A's Giants, I think the A's like beating the Giants. I think the Giants probably felt like it was, because at one point the Giants were the little brother and the A's were the little brother. So I do think because of to your point, Kyle, if there was a Super Bowl with the Raiders and Niners when they were both in the Bay, that would have carried for a while, right? But that didn't happen.
But it wasn't even necessarily a Super Bowl. It was any period of time. I guess you could argue the early 80s, but that's like, again, 40 years ago. There wasn't really an extended period of time where they were both great at the same time. Right. It was like the Niners were up, and then the Raiders won a championship, and then the Niners went on their run, and then the Raiders won in then the Raiders were in LA, which was the other part of it. So when the Niners were killing it, the Raiders were in LA, and then the Raiders came back, and the Niners stunk, and then the Raiders were good, and the Raiders have been bad for 20 years. So there just never was a period where it overlapped, I felt like.
Peg on the Sac chat saying, oh no, the Raiders thought the Battle of the Bay meant something while the Niners were on their necks the whole time. Again, if we're going more fans versus fans, Niners fans are going to do this thing where, oh, we don't care about playing the Raiders. Maybe now you don't, but when it was in Oakland, come on, both sides liked beating each other because it's a connection. You have a fan, you have a friend, you have a cousin, a brother, a sister, an aunt, an uncle who loves the Raiders or loves the Niners, and you just can't stand them.
Yeah, but was it the players or was it the fans who loved beating each other?
I'm still saying the fans. But okay, but I think that is an interesting wrinkle, though. Out of all the rivalries that we talk about, how many rivalries right now are still, no, I don't like you as a player versus the fans, right? I think Giants, Dodgers, I don't think they like each other. Straight up. I don't think they like each other, but the Giants are not anywhere near the Dodgers, so it doesn't hit the same. Duke, UNC, they hate each other for sure. Yankees, Red Sox, honestly, lately, I haven't seen much of the venom.
Well, it's interesting because now there's been a role reversal in my lifetime where it used to be the Red Sox were the woe is me little brothers, and now it's kind of flipped on that where Boston is the team that's won 5 championships and always puts the Yankees to rest, and the Yankees have won basically one championship in my entire lifetime.
The Cowboys is confusing because those divisions are so small. They all hate every game is a rivalry game.
Yeah, football is kind of regional rivalries in a national sport. I mean, I guess you could say everyone hates the Kansas Cities or the Patriots.
No, but yes. But if you are a Cowboys player, I would guess that when it comes to who you actually feel like the rivalry is with, I think that team, because when I go back east, there are Eagles fans, Commanders fans, there's Cowboys fans everywhere, and Giants fans. I would say that an Eagles player, my guess is that they actually hate the Eagles the most. That's my guess. I don't know that.
You're saying a Cowboys player.
I'm saying a Cowboys player.
A Cowboys player.
If you were to ask them, hey, who's your biggest rivalry? Not the fans, who's your biggest rivalry? I would say the Cowboys hate playing the Eagles the most.
I think Micah Parsons talks up the Eagles, but I don't know if that's just because he's from Pennsylvania or if that's like what they actually feel. I think it's either the Eagles or the Giants. But again, I think what's weird about I think the Giants-A's thing is more steeped in tradition because they played every year and there was like hyping up the Battle of the Bay, and then both teams were good in the 80s, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like in Raiders-Niners, it was like there was never any overlap where both teams were great, so it never got a chance to blossom.
Who else is there? If you were to say Warriors-Kings, that's definitely more fan-driven.
Well, it's also more recent, right?
Yeah. But that's why I'm saying no more Mike Brown, no more De'Aaron, and signing to Steph. I think that the play, and you know how Doug Christie gets down, assuming this whole thing continues. I think we could see, because we saw a little bit of it with the Keon talking about the flopping and Steve Kerr talking about how they handled the Mike Brown thing. I think we're going to get some juice. And I know it sounds like I'm just begging for it because I am. I'm really begging for it.
I think basketball just kind of sucks at rivalries that extend generations because, like, I would argue the Dallas Phoenix thing in recent years has been a very captivating rivalry, but it's not something that's going to last post Luka, right? That there's nothing there to it anymore. Or
Well, I would even say Grizzlies, Warriors. Remember that was hot in the streets.
Yep.
But Dylan Brooks leaves. John Morant never plays. And now that game has no juice now.
Yeah, I remember the NBA tried to steep itself in the tradition of Sixers and Celtics a couple of years ago when they got back to the playoffs. And it's like basketball, or I shouldn't say basketball, the NBA doesn't really work well with cross-generational rivalries.
Mm-hmm.
It just, for whatever reason, doesn't stick when it's not the same. And maybe it's because it's a more player-driven star sport.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really work across the generations in the same way that baseball definitely does.
College sports, to me, even with all the NIL, I think that is true blue. It's across sports, but obviously football for some, basketball for some lead them. Like Alabama, Auburn, it doesn't matter if that kid just stepped on Auburn's campus. You step, again, going back to severance and being severed, you step on that, you sign that deal, you step on that campus, you automatically hate Alabama.
Yeah, but I think that's regional pride to it, right?
Yes, but I would, Michigan, but I think that's part of this college in general.
Yeah, but I think that's what they have the advantage of, is that it is such a regional sport with regional rivalries.
Yeah.
That you're good. Like, it doesn't matter who plays for Michigan or Ohio State. The schools are 40 miles apart. You have families where you know someone who has gone to either school. So I think that's where they have that advantage.
Speaking of, okay, and don't worry, before the show ends, we will create a path to save the Kings. So this started from FanDuel Sportsbook. They posted this, and it went a bit viral since we're talking college here. And any college fans in the area, even Sac State, right? Sac State's going to be popping soon. Give us your thoughts on this, 916-339-1140. No crosstalk today, so if you want to call after we take a break here in a couple minutes, we will get to you because the Drive Guys are live from Stockton for the Stockton Kings season finale. So you're going to want to get out there if you're not out there already, and we will have time to take calls on the other side. So here it is. FanDuel posted this about a day or so ago. True or false? It's weird to be a fan of a college you didn't go to. Okay, so that's what they asked. Somebody quote tweeted this, and it's just a random Twitter account, okay? Robert White, the third, whatever, some Baylor person, okay? The Baylor person, he says that these are the rules to be a fan of a college team. Number one, you attended that college. Number two, or your parents attended that college. Or number three, you live within 30 minutes of the university and regularly engage with folks on campus. And then he goes on to say, no, you cannot be an Alabama fan from California. That should be criminalized. Number three is stupid as hell to me.
No, that's fine.
No. I'm saying change that to you live within 2 hours, 3 hours of the school.
Oh, you're saying wider distance.
And regularly engage with folks on campus? Huh? Regularly doing what? Why are you as a 35-year-old engaging regularly with folks on campus if you don't work there?
I don't know. I mean, maybe he doesn't say necessarily 35-year-old.
Well, I'm saying 30. I'm the 35-year-old in this scenario.
Yeah, but
what am I doing on a campus?
But don't people at, like, for example, the Grambling States or the Alcorn States, like the tailgates are like the Saturday event or whatever. Or if you go to certain.
So you're saying I live in Natomas now, and I can rep Sac State because I'm within 30 minutes and I go to the tailgates.
Sure.
I'm saying you don't need to do all that. I'm saying I can rep. Cal is close enough to me that I can rep. Stanford, because Stanford is probably about 2 hours. Stanford, I feel like repping because I want to.
But you also used to live within 30 minutes of Stanford. Yeah. So I feel like it makes more sense for you because you may have had those allegiances.
Okay, well, I did go to Stanford basketball camp growing up. But Even still, but I'm not part of it now. I was never 30 minutes.
But sure, but I'm saying you would have been closer when you were a kid, when you probably fortified that fandom.
What do you think of these rules?
Yeah, I thought that was great. I mean, that
you agree?
Yes. I mean, if you want to expand it out further, fine. If I were a fan of Cal, as someone who the closest I've ever lived is Davis,
yes,
that'd be a little weird. But
I don't think so.
It would be a little weird, but I understand the sentiment. Again, we're not going to police fandom, but I do think this rule is great. I would even extend it further to like if your grandparents attended XYZ
Kyle.
School.
So Kyle, stop that.
That's why
Kyle.
I checked the box for San Diego State in two capacities. Now, I don't really care about San Diego State as much anymore, but I checked the boxes for family graduated from there and grew up within X miles.
No. But what I was going to say is you being a Cal fan, living in Davis, you like the Bears, whatever, cool with me. You being a Michigan fan, that's random to me.
Yeah. And again, I would just want to hear someone's explanation.
But you're putting them in the same bucket.
No, I'm not saying Cal and Michigan are the same.
Yeah.
I'm saying that it would be a little weird if I, with no connections to Berkeley, who's living 100 miles away, said I'm going to be a Cal Berkeley fan.
I think it's close enough. I think Michigan is weird. I think Cal is fine.
I think the more high profile the program, I think the less weird it becomes, right? Like if you live
it becomes cornier to me.
Well, if you live in Bakersfield, for example, and you want to root for USC, that makes a little bit more sense.
That's fine. Yes.
I think the higher profile program, the more it's like, okay, I can see the vision a little bit more.
Rivalry conversation. People want to keep it going, and we will also dive into how to get the Kings out of this mess. One more segment with you, and then we hand you over to the Drive Guys live from Stockton, down south, Stockton Sports.
Thursday night, Kings and Trailblazers. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your boat, boat wins.
What are you going to do? Take the boat out for a spin or go mail something? Boat wins! Are we cleaning the patio or taking the boat out fishing? Boat wins! Are we skipping that eye exam to go sailing? Boat wins!
Rescheduling eye exams can be a nightmare.
All right, fine. Eye exam, then boat. Yeah!
With Progressive, you can bundle your boat with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings on your boat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service, real-time updates only in iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
Huge savings now on new 2025 Silverado at the Meta Chevy Silverado Supercenter.
Save $11,000 off MSRP after rebates every new Silverado LT Turbo Max with Meta Chevy's exclusive all-in-stock pricing.
And Meta Chevy has one of the largest selections in the Sacramento area.
$11,000 off new Silverado at the Meta Chevy Silverado Supercenter. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MetaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Not available with special financing, leasing, some of the offers.
Made a great deal at Meta.
It's Carmichael Dave talking to you about my good friends at American Energy. You're in the Sacramento area. You know how the seasons work. They are a-changing right now. So American Energy wants to help you stay warm for the rest of the cold season, but help you stay cool during the warm season. Best way to do that, make sure your system is operating safely. So right now is the time to take advantage of half off a tune-up, $24.50. They cut that right in half, and if you want a diagnostic, guess what? You can't beat free. If it's free, it's me, and now it can be you. And also, it's the end of the season blowout. $4,000 off a new system plus any rebates. That $4,000, that's a direct drop from the sticker price. It's a great deal. Check them out at theaeway.com or an instant quote, or give them a call at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Tell them your good buddy Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Have you ever dreamed of shopping for the perfect jewelry from home?
Well, now it's possible, and you can even build your credit. PrestigiaJewelers.com now offers online shopping, making us the premium credit jeweler nationwide. With an exceptional selection of fine jewelry, from engagement rings and gold chains to sparkling diamond earrings and much more. With over 30 years of experience, Prestigio guarantees you'll find exactly what you're looking for. It's fast and easy. Once approved, you'll receive a guaranteed credit line from $400 to $10,000. All you need is to be 18 years or older, have a valid form of ID, be employed for a minimum of 6 months, and a bank account for automatic payments. PrestigiaJewelers.com is the perfect way to establish or reestablish your credit, with interest rates at only 2.25% per month. We are here to help you with monthly reporting to all major credit bureaus. The perfect jewelry, the perfect price, helping you build perfect credit. Visit us online at PrestigiaJewelers.com or at one of our locations in Sacramento, Stockton, Merced, and Fresno. Enter code SACTOWNSPORTS at checkout to save 10%.
T-Mobile home internet is all about speed, value.
What you doing, Zach?
I'm cursing. There are so many benefits. You got to talk fast.
T-Mobile home internet ranks #1 in customer satisfaction for home wireless internet by J.D. Power.
Wow, you are good.
Try singing it. T-Mobile has price lock.
They won't raise your rate on internet.
Hulu and Paramount Plus on there.
Get T-Mobile home internet all in for just $55 a month with auto pay and any postpaid voice line.
Conditions terms apply. For JD Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
JCPenney makes spring fashion look so easy. Throw on something light, bright, and extra comfy. Mix and match new arrivals from your fave brands and create affordable outfits with ease, like the perfect St. John's Bay polo paired with chinos, or a simple sweater and denim combo from A&A. Get that Liz Claiborne handbag you love, plus those cute sandals to match. For warmer nights, pick out cool, lightweight sleep sets from Umbriel. Come shop, bring the fam, and start chasing those spring vibes now. JCPenney, make it count.
Tom's Watch Bar has the best happy hour in Sacramento, starting with $5 specials all day, every day. Plus select $7 appetizers and $12 entrees. With 360-degree viewing and game day vibes that match being at the game. Tom's Watch Bar is the ultimate game day experience for sports fans.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sacktown Sports.
Just reading through these texts. No Whitey Gleason today, as they are in Stockton. And today, I believe, is Keon Ellis. I think Brandon Deitzman looks like Brandon Deitzman is going to be in the building, one of our Sac Chat P1ers. And Brandon is, he reminded us that I think Keon gets his own bobblehead tonight. It's Keon bobblehead night. So
that'll be fun.
Shout out to Keon. And if you're going to I still need to make it out to the Stockton Kings game. I have not done so yet. But
I really just be chilling for real.
Yeah, I've heard that they're a lot of fun. I need to get on out there, just like the Drive guys are doing. They'll be out there having a great time. And I know some of our insiders were debating going to get that bobblehead. You know, I'm not big on I'm just not a collector of things. I got a Brandon Crawford bobblehead that sat in the corner of my bedroom, I don't know, for the duration of my time in Alameda, which is about 2 years. And I truly don't know if it made the trip with us.
See, this is the difference between you and I's childhood, is that I am also not into the collecting thing, but my version of that, and this is going to sound so sad, was for 10 years I had an Everett Cabrera bobblehead sitting on my childhood desk, which is crazy because he was like a mediocre shortstop, but it was the best the Padres had when I was a kid. So I'm not into the collecting or the bobbleheads or anything like that, but I understand the people who are. It's it's a fun hobby.
Yeah, and was it Crawford? It was either Crawford. I think it was actually Yastrzemski, and he just sat there. Because what happened was,
you're saying the baby Yastrzemski?
Yeah, Mike Yastrzemski.
Interesting.
Yes. Well, he's been on the Giants. He might be one of the longest tenured Giants.
Oh, I'm just surprised they had a bobblehead 4 years ago for him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was when, remember 2020, he was top 7 in MVP voting, and they missed the playoffs because of the Padres by a game or so.
Right, but it's just weird that Mike Yastrzemski, who in the grand scheme of things is going to be a pretty forgettable giant.
Kyle, bobbleheads happen all the time.
I know. I had an Everett Cabrera bobblehead. I also had a Kevin Kuzmanoff poster.
So go get your Keon Ellis bobblehead tonight, Stockton Kings. I'm just reading through some of these texts about the fan stuff, and I love when we talk about stuff like this. 916, going back to the rivalries from UPS, Chris says, Niners Cowboys, just ask Kittle. That's a great shout. I think that is one that's transcended, right? They're not in the same division, but that one, because of their battles in the 90s, that one has remained. So that is a really good one, UPS, Chris. 916 says, Warriors has become a true regional rivalry from both a fan and a team standpoint. They get geared up to play, and fans do too. And there's now a chance for it to get chippy. NFL rivalries are more divisional. As a Niner fan, I hate the Rams or the Seahawks way more than the Raiders, and I've actually rooted for the Raiders because they're an AFC team, and it doesn't really affect me. Good point there from the 916. Also, I think this is hilarious. A true annoying fan is a parent whose kid just started attending a big football school, and the parent becomes a crazy fan when they had no interest previously. Survey says, Kyle, I'm good with it. I allow that. I'm sorry, 916. You're probably paying the tuition. I'm going to fan as much as I want. Even if you're on a full ride, my kid is at some big school. Yeah, I'm wearing Bama stuff because my kids, they'll probably be, SEC or wherever. There's only going to be 2 conferences at that time. So, yeah, and they're going to be playing sports and, full ride and all that. So I'm personally going to be decked out.
So I would like to officially amend the list that Baylor guy said on Twitter. It's number 1, if you attended. Number 2, if your parents attended. Number 3, if you lived within, whatever, we'll call it an hour of the campus. And number 4, if you've paid tuition.
Yes, that's right.
To that school, then you're allowed to root for their team.
Yes. If they're rooting because I paid for their little butt to be there, then I'm a root too.
If you have paid the school money for someone to attend that school, you're allowed to root for them as much as you want.
916 says, I'm a diehard UCLA fan because my dad graduated there, and that's just who our household cheered for since my formative days of sports fandom. I went to UC Davis, and our sports are trash. That's from the 916. Hey, I hear you, and that would count. You count, 916. You're good. Parent went there. Kyle wants to say your great aunt. Who was it, Frankie, we were talking to when Frankie said he's rooting for Duke because his aunt went there? No, don't say it.
I'm not saying it should be your number 1 team, but my family I have my aunt and my cousin went to the University of Washington. And so I want University of Washington to do well.
Yeah.
But I'm not like a UW fan or anything. So I think I thought you guys were being a little mean to Frankie when
I'm never mean to Frankie.
You were making fun of him for rooting for Duke. I think that was the morning show, but still I understand the sentiment. Also, UC Davis women's basketball is pretty good.
That's right. I saw Sac State. They upset someone in their tournament. The women's did. So look, things are changing. And look, if Sac State, this whole thing really turns around, Mike Bibby, now the coach. I do want to spend some time on Mike Bibby and the transition. I was talking with some media peeps about how hard it is to transition based on the history that you have, the coaching history that you have. So we'll spend some time on Mike Bibby tomorrow as he makes a huge jump in his career. But, it's when they get good, people that aren't connected to Sac State, they're going to ride the wave, and I don't mind it. And they don't have to be at every tailgate every week.
Yeah, but it's different when it's not, I'm not going to say lower division. I know they're trying to transition to Mountain West, but it's a little different when you're talking about 2nd or 3rd division college sports.
And this guy, good old Twitter, this guy, you have to hang out weekly. What do you want me at? The Delta Chi party at 35 years old?
Oh, that would be funny.
That'd be terrible.
You who just blew out your shoulder after throwing a football.
Hey, you want to have a catch?
5 days ago blew out your shoulder.
You want me at the SAE party at 35? That's the only way I can root for this team?
I mean,
get the hell out of here.
Maybe show up to a tailgate once a year. How about that's the standard? You got to show up to a Stanford tailgate or a Stanford sporting event once a year if you want to claim Stanford.
John on the Sac chat says, my son got accepted to University of Oregon. You better believe I'm rooting for Oregon now. That's right, John. And you deserve it. Out-of-state tuition.
Yeah, you deserve it. You know why? Because you're paying for that fandom.
When you go into that bookstore, John, and you're buying stuff for your son, go get that extra Oregon shirt. Matter of fact, get 2 of them. And don't go to the sale rack, John. You deserve the brand new stuff. You're paying the out-of-state tuition, and you're paying money anyway, so just throw it all into a pile.
You deserve the right to pay them more money.
That's right. You're already paying them.
For $38 shirts at the bookstore.
Come on, okay? We got to get out of here. That is the ultimate tease as we discuss the path to the Kings getting out of this mess. That's what we will have tomorrow, along with Roundtable. And like I said, we're going to have some Mike Bibby talk on the huge leap in his career. Very happy for Mike Bibby and everything that he has accomplished and about to accomplish. Handing you over to the Drive Guys. Fun show with you today. Handing you over to the Drive Guys, Whitey Gleason, Cal Draper, Jay Johnson, live from Stockton for the Stockton Kings finale.